order the July 21st, 2026 meeting of the Common Council. The time is 5:35. Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Mayor Butterman.
Here.
Councilmember Mosher Tempoli.
Here.
Councilmember Waltruso. Councilmember McHugh.
Here.
Councilmember LaPartie Shu.
Here.
Councilmember Carson. Councilmember Harrington.
Here.
Councilmember Marks.
Here.
Councilmember Mattis.
Here.
Will you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, well, thank you all for being here tonight. The remarks are 3 bulleted items there. I want to start with our Veteran of the Month, which is pushed back this month because the Veterans Outreach Center, instead of doing their monthly lunch at the Armory, decided to do a picnic on Sunday afternoon. So the Veteran of the Month was then announced and recognized at that event. And so the Veteran of the Month this month is Dr. Blaine Jones. Dr. Jones was a United States Army veteran. He served from June 1986 to June 1989. He received the National Defense Service Medal, the Army Service Ribbon, the Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, completed training the Medical Officer Basic Course, Army Combat Casualty Course, Advanced Trauma Life Support, and he worked at Foss Hospital here in Oneonta, serving his patients as a family practitioner, hospital, and sleep medicine physician. He actively served on the community as a Boy Scout leader, community volunteer, medical missionary volunteer, and volunteer driver for the Office for the Aging. He serves his congregation as the second counselor in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, originally from Utah, and he's been married to his wife, Robin, for over 40 years, and they have 5 children and 12 grandchildren. And I've met Dr. Jones a number of times and enjoyed every conversation with him. And yet another example of how the veterans continue to serve our country after they take off the uniform and do it so in a community where we continue to do it. So well-deserved for Dr. Jones. And I got to go to the picnic on Sunday afternoon. We have our presentation from Gary Flaherty, so I'm going to take some of his thunder, which I know he wants to talk about. But he said there was maybe 230, but I counted, and there were definitely more than that. Maybe over 250 people there. It was really exciting to see a number of people that were from Oneonta, those are coming to Oneonta, and sort of showing that Oneonta is a place where veterans can receive their services, they can build community with each other and with the community of Oneonta. It was a really fun afternoon recognizing Dr. Jones and all those other veterans and their families that were there with him. So if you can't make it to the next, I'm assuming it's back on the regular schedule, lunches, first Tuesday of the month, the next one will be in August. If you can make it there, it's a free lunch at 11 o'clock at the Armory. It's kind of a potluck style, it's very enjoyable. And it's always, I've been there I think 6 or 7 times. Every time there's more people there because the word's getting out. And it's a really nice community event. So I'm hoping to be there. And congratulations to Dr. Jones on your recognition. Quick recap. Spain won the World Cup.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah. After 100 plus games, 300 plus goals, 48 teams, and I think it was almost 7 million people that attended these games. Thankfully not all 7 million were here in Oneonta, but I think we had a good attendance at the watch parties if you're able to go on Market Street. I think we had 4 games there. We had the U.S. men twice. One got rained out. We had the Knicks winning their championship. And then we had the final on Sunday afternoon where Spain got the final trophy. So another good example of community building. The word got out and the SPCA called and said, we want to participate and join you on Water Street for one of your events. And so then on Friday we had the movie night with the SPCA with The Secret Life of Pets, and they adopted, I think, 4 dogs or 3 dogs that night. They had a few extras, so they brought them back on Sunday. So it was a good partnership with the SPCA and a really easy place to access for the puppies and for people to come and visit. So this is sort of maybe proof of concept that Water Street is a good area for community events, and I'm sure there'll be some more ideas coming forward about how we can continue to utilize that space for other community events. So that was really exciting, and I'm hoping you felt the same way if you're able to make it down there. It was really fun to be on Water Street watching those games. As we get into the rest of the agenda, this is sort of like a 6-month check-in now that we've passed 6 months, at least for me, on the job, and working together through a number of things, and we'll make some changes that we'll discuss tonight. I've learned a little bit more about each one of you, as well as people in the city, and hopefully learn a little bit more about me. I've learned on the job and started to understand things a little bit better than I did 6 months ago. And so I'm hoping that some of the discussions that we have tonight will sort of reflect my learning curve, as well as some of the ideas that I've had through this process of how we can make things work even better. I think things have been working pretty well, but we can always find ways to do a little bit better. So those are my opening remarks, at least for now, and we'll move on to no public hearings, but there will be our first opportunity for anyone who would like to address the council. Here's your first chance. There is 3 minutes available to you if you'd like to take that time. If this is now that you would like to speak, please state your name, your connection to the city, and then your 3 minutes will begin. Would anyone like to take this opportunity to address the council? Yes, sir.
So my name is Tyler Vanwell. I'm a resident in the city. I have a brief statement about the good cause eviction law proceedings, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
Let me pull that right now. It's a little bit of a heavy topic, I apologize, but it's important. The legislative committee has decided that they need to hear from tenants and landlords in order to come to a decision about the good cause eviction law. I frankly think that's ridiculous. There's a bit of a conflict of interest there. Of course, the landlord is going to say, no, I'm not a fan of the good cause law. It'll cause issues with income or evicting people or using my property that way and on, whatever. That's all true, and it is the point of the law. Shelter is a basic necessity like food and water, and we have a limited supply of it. While private entities might own the stockpile, there needs to be restrictions on what they can and can't do with it so that we aren't pricing the town out of their homes. So frankly, I really don't care what the landlord's opinion of this is, because the bad behavior of landlords is the issue that this law is aimed at fixing. The notion that we should ask their permission to stop them from exploiting people infuriates me. This law will not hinder landlords in any meaningful way. The average increase in wages annually is 3%, so there's no reason why rent should increase more than 10% per year, which is the maximum cap set by this law. This community is plagued by a housing market that was already terrible and is now shrinking fast due to Airbnbs and student rentals, made possible in the first place by pricing people out of their homes or refusing lease renewal for no good reason. Yes, they own the property, but they are toying with access to a basic necessity and human right. I think if you care about Miami's community and about people having access to a place to live, you pass this law without a second thought. No need to ask the opinion of a group whose interests are fundamentally biased towards the wrong answer.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to take this opportunity? If you're still thinking it through, there'll be a second opportunity. Yes, sir.
I'm also here about the good cause eviction law. I'm just gonna mirror some of Tyler's points here. And,
Sir, will you just state your name real quick? So
my
we,
name is Benjamin McGill.
thank you, sir.
Ben.
Go ahead.
I live on Maple Street. I think that it isn't only this idea of homes and although that is what the bill is about, but it's also community. It's also people interacting together. I think that the good cause eviction law is pretty hard to argue against for a lot of reasons. It only applies, as you all know, to people who own multiple buildings. If it's a grandma, renting to your cousin, and she has 2 buildings, this law doesn't apply to her. This isn't meant to make it harder for new homeowners to, have the one thing that they own increase in value over time, but rather it has one simple function. It's peanuts. It's such a tiny, tiny thing to cap rent in a town where rents is probably the largest issue for most people. And, it matters. It matters to, 90% of the people who live here to, feel like that they could have a future here and that people that they know, people in their family are safe, that their futures are affordable, and that there isn't, 2% of this town who, kind of runs away with millions of dollars while making basic necessities impossible to access. I know a lot of people who have influence in this town are very integrated into the business community. I know that while hardly any tenants in this town, other than the ones that we've been kind of bringing this issue to, don't know about this law, but every single landlord that I have run into, every one of them, since like the day that we started talking about this, they all knew about it. And it's just, there's something kind of fundamentally unfair about the kind of fixing and organization involved in such a brutal market when people's lives are at stake. And yeah, the economy only works from the bottom up. It's been proven time and time again. It's how the New Deal pulled us out of the Great Depression. It's the only way any of this works. And it's the only way community can be community. And one day you might need your community. That's all.
Thank you. Anyone else like to take this opportunity? Well, thank you. Again, there'll be a second opportunity towards the end of the agenda. Is there any correspondence?
There was just the one item of correspondence that was previously emailed to the council from the Oleana Susquehanna Greenway Committee.
And nothing else, right? Thank you. Okay, now we have, starting off 3 presentations today. There's the America's 250 celebration, the Advanced Workforce Housing in Oneonta, and the Veterans Property Tax Exemption. The times on the side there are 5, 10, and 5 minutes. That's not necessarily a restriction, it's just more of a guideline so the council can see, how much time is expected on that. Okay. So if you go over, by all means, that's okay. If you go left, that's also okay. But we'll start with Mark Simonson for the America's 250 celebration and the steering subcommittee chair. So,
Okay.
Mark, thank you for being here. Look forward to hearing from you.
I would have been here the last time, but I think I was still sleeping after the long weekend of events. It was successful, it went very well, and instead of sending just a thank you note or anything like that, I wanted to make it a personal thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the support that the city gave. I brought some official swag with me, so I will give these out to you. Just 50 years ago, when we had our bicentennial,
Thank you, Mark.
we were in a time kind of tough. We had the Watergate scandal we just got over. Just here. And we had big inflation. We had Vietnam War. I've just gotten over it. So the country needed a little something to cheer us up. Bicentennial came along, and we brought something cheerful. So I had the idea, a long time ago, and I think it's safe to say that we need something a little cheerful nowadays, in 2026. So along came this event, and it went very successfully. We got beat by the heat on Thursday night, unfortunately, out of Muller Plaza. It was like 100+ degrees. So we were at the peaceful dedication, saw you there. But after that, kind of quiet. Everybody headed indoors where it was cooler. But on Saturday, or Friday rather, Sport Wilcox, and at the Chautauqua event on Sunday, things went beautifully. Everything went just so well. And again, I want to thank Common Council, City of Oneonta for all your support. I worked with Don Matheson and of course the mayor several times during the event. And did you have any questions of our commission at this point?
Any questions?
Not unless you're planning the 300th anniversary.
I don't know if, I may not be around for that, just, we'll see.
I don't have questions. Say thanks again. It was a really wonderful weekend.
It seems like a long time ago that I addressed you originally to seek your support, and flew by, and here we are. And in fact, we got a happy recap. So,
Yeah.
again, thank you so much for all your help and your support for such a great event for Oneonta.
Thank you.
Thank you for
doing it.
running it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, next up, the Advancing Workforce Housing in Oneonta. Jesse Sampaco, the VP for Professionals for the UUP Oneonta. Yes, please, go ahead. Would you like to use?
It's
Would you like the podium or?
No, it's okay. I have my notes on my phone.
Just tell me when you're ready for your next one.
So my name is Jessie. I am Jessie Sipaco. I'm the current VP for UUP Professionals. It's one of the union in SUNY Oneonta. And I'm here to present advancing workforce housing in Oneonta. In 2024, we did a survey from our members, and they are all active members. And I want to present it to the council what the result is. So why we're here, why I'm here, is the survey from UUP addressing the housing issue raised. This one is already raised in SUNY management, and we're trying to collaborate with them and hopefully work with them to address a workforce housing, propose a city-centered workforce housing strategy for Oneonta, and request the council for support and maybe collaborate for next steps on addressing this issue. This is like the findings that we have found from our members. So 461 responses, and the top barriers is poor housing quality, high purchase prices, high rent, and lack of suitable housing types. A lot of them that did the survey, the numbers, 83% of them are going to move to Oneonta, much closer, if all of these barriers is going to be addressed. That is 83% that a community can be here in Oneonta. A lot of them search for housing. The survey asked if you have looked for a housing in Oneonta in the last 2 years. Remember, this is 2024, and a lot of them did, and they didn't find any. And some of them still commute, and after the day, 20 miles from their employer's place. Those are some of the comments that I just want to highlight from our members. Housing here in Oneonta is the worst. It has all been bought up for student rentals. We're lucky to find a house. Most rentals were unaffordable or unlivable. And this is why I wanted to work with city management, because this is a retention problem and recruitment problem. If new employees don't have a place to stay or affordable home for them, or residence to go to, they're not going to work here. So next, please. So why is it housing matter? As I just said, recruitment, retention, local economic development. If they are here in the city or in the town, they're making their money and they're spending their money in local businesses. Neighborhood stability, the more student rentals they are transient, and we are having more and more short-term rentals, which are also transient members of community. And this is for equity and access for working families. And I did have read that Oneonta is aligned with Oneonta Pro Housing Community, so this should hopefully one of the things that can be worked on. So requested collaboration. So because of the survey, our union created a housing committee to address our issues. That's why I'm here and doing this presentation. And we're trying to connect to tenants. I'm trying to connect to the town and the other union in our SUNY Oneonta to see if they would collaborate with us on how to help their members on affordable housing. These are the research that I have found. I tried to look into them in other municipalities that have worked. One of the main sources is Southampton Housing Fund that I look into, but these are, you don't need to apply them, it would be great if we all can do them. But that's just an example. Housing fund, we already have a down payment assistance for first-time home buyers, just a little more marketing maybe for our own members. I know that Oneonta did some code enforcement and mental standards, ADU incentive program, so that's access dwelling unit, mixed income and senior housing, and preserve existing housing. So this is the model that I've seen in Southampton. So I tried to get him to how are we gonna adapt it to Oneonta, and my knowledge about this is a little more high level, so I can't probably answer all the details, but they have the access dwelling unit loan programs, down payment aid, deed restricted housing. So deed restricted is if you have a house that is for a residential, it is going to be restricted to always be sold as a residential and not investment property. And advisory board, so I'm looking for Oneonta Housing Task Force. Next. So building from the things that the council or the city has already done, the city is a pros housing community certification. There was, as I look into the site, there is a commission and housing commission and comprehensive plan of 2019. Maybe we can revive that, or someone can explain it to me. Short-term rental regulation, rental inspection and compliance program, one rehab program, and active community development office. So these are like maybe a starting programs that we can work on or we can look at if we don't work together. So next steps is a proposal for the housing commission, planning commission. So I'm hoping that I don't know if I need to, but I can present for the housing commission for Oneonta and the planning commission. I reached out to SUNY management already to collaborate them about this issue. And maybe we can have a Oneonta City, SUNY, UUP working group, if that's possible, and identify, so this, I think, would be what I would love to do, is identify 2 pilot programs, or 2 projects that we can accomplish for a year, some short-term goal. And present the New York State for enabling legislation and funding and public engagement. So my ask for the council is to acknowledge the workforce housing issue, support this proposal through existing city housing and planning, collaborate with us, and identify 2 practical pilot programs that we can tell our members. Next. Just viewing here, we want to help bring this plan to life for workers, neighborhood, and for the Oneonta City's future. Question?
All right, thank you. Anyone have any questions?
Jesse, I wonder if you could say there's one thing that the council should be doing quickly.
Approve the good costs. Good costs eviction law.
Thank you. And I'd like to state for the record, I think I'm the only council member who's a renter.
Other,
Okay, Don.
Well, earlier it was mentioned that, you know, like in some of the earlier statements that, you know, no one here is a renter.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to correct the record.
Just really
Thank
quickly, is it Southampton, Long Island?
Yes.
So like with tens of millions of dollars of funding? Okay, just making sure.
I had a couple questions, but go ahead.
I was just gonna say that my neighborhood is hit especially hard by this, like primarily our makeup is transient housing. And I have experienced some of the things that you're mentioning in terms of neighborhood stability, I think that there is a sentiment and momentum to bring it back, and anytime a presentation like this is made, I appreciate that it turns up the urgency. I like that, the suggestion to just continue to work together. I think the more people that not only care about this, but have ideas of things that we could do, the closer we get to, the ideal. And so I just want to say thank you. And yeah, I took some notes, some things that I want to follow up on, so appreciate it.
I had a question about you don't have to go back to the survey they took of members, and they talked about some of the barriers to living in Oneonta. Rent prices, quality of options, and also suitable options. I was wondering, what is a suitable option that would, oh, yeah.
I forgot.
Was it like a single family house or apartment or townhouse? Was there some sort of description there?
Yeah, there will be single-family house.
Okay.
Some are looking if it's a little more land, so that they're talking about more of on the end of town.
Mhm.
But more is a single-family house that is not or was divided into rentals.
And then the other question you mentioned about deed restrictions, I want to make sure I understood that correctly. That it'd be a deed restriction that you said would keep it residential, so if someone owned a house, they'd have to live in that house, that would be the restriction?
Yeah,
So they
it's-
couldn't,
it's- the owner has to live in the house.
Owner
And if the
occupied?
owner tried to sell it, that house would have to stay as a residential house.
so the buyer would then be an owner occupied, that would be the restriction, right? Correct? They couldn't buy it just to lease it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I had other questions, but I don't want to,
Keep going.
I don't know.
Those were
I don't know.
good.
On the sort of the joint task force that you mentioned, I'm not sure exactly your words, but you said you've met or you're going to meet with the SUNY Oneonta management? I didn't quite get that
I
right.
already sent the email to.
Send an email to them? Okay.
Yeah, but I do go to labor management and I have told them that I am doing this reservation for the common council.
Okay. And are you doing you want to go jump in?
Oh, no, go ahead. Oh, I was just going to ask a question.
I don't know, but, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can go.
Okay.
I'll yield the floor.
Currently, how many employees work and are employed at SUNY Oneonta? What's the number of employees?
I can tell you our members, we have at least 1,000.
1,000.
Our UUP members.
Do you have a breakdown or percentage of the number of those current employees who live in Oneonta and what their living conditions are, single family, rental?
I don't know their living condition, but based on the data I have, there is currently living right here in Oneonta City, 300 some workers. I don't know if they rent or they own their houses.
So 300 out of 1,000. Do you have an idea of the number of employees who you could not retain due to, you don't have that number? Okay. And then the other approximately 70%, do you have an idea of the range or radius of where those employees live?
20 months. They have to drive 20 months.
A 30-mile radius, 30-minute?
I would say 20 miles radius.
A 30?
She's at
20.
20.
Oh, 20,
miles
okay.
radius.
Thank you.
Can I ask Dave a question, if we have authority to do something?
No, maybe for the roundtable section, we'll add.
Okay.
Unless,
Well,
like, what is
it was part of the thing that was discussed here just
Go ahead.
now.
All right.
Does the city have the legal authority to put a deed restriction where the owner must occupy the property and can't rent it? Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
probably unconstitutional, probably an unconstitutional taking of property rights without due process.
Thank you.
You mentioned Binghamton and Albany as where some folks live. Do you, with the 300 here, 1,000 total, do you know how many do commute from Binghamton or Albany, or both? Or do you have that number? That's
I
right.
can give you the number, I don't have it right in my head right
Oh,
now.
that's okay, but it is something you know.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And then the other question is, thinking about, you're talking about sort of like a collaborative effort between like the city, SUNY, UUP. And are you giving this presentation to the town as well?
Yes, I have reached out to the town to present this.
I was, when you said 20-mile radius, I was thinking that the town, city, and maybe some of the others might be some more collaborative effort, because like you said, the interest of some of the members might not necessarily be matched in the city, but they could be matched in the town. So it might make sense to work together with them. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the
Go ahead, please.
presentation. Well, because I just wanted to note that some of the statistics that I saw from your survey, I have seen echoed on other assessments that were presented over the past couple of years, you know, really getting at this idea that there's a lot more folks who would like to move into the city and, you know, the region who are looking for that kind of housing stock. So I think we can probably get some other data if we wanted to from some of those. I think it's like the Otsego County Assessments, Needs Assessment Survey or something, but.
Like the OFO assessment, you mean?
Yeah, it was one of those, you know, but I remember hearing some very similar kinds of statistics that we could probably look at that would give us, you know, a broader range, you know, of statistics for the community if that's what we're looking for. Because I know what you're presenting on is, you know, specific to your membership. But what I did notice is that, you know, in the list of solutions, it looked to me like you were looking for not just like an ask of the city, but collaboration with a variety of different, you know, partners and different levels. So I just wanted to point that out, you know, because I think any strategy that we use that, you know, collaborates with more entities, like you were saying, with the town, you know, and with management at SUNY Oneonta can strengthen whatever strategies we implement together.
Yeah, and what the programs that I have listed, they are just samples, like you said, the deed, like I don't know all the details of the programs I presented, they are just something for the group to look at and to see which one is best fit for Oneonta.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next presentation, we have the Veterans Property Tax Exemption, presented by Gary Flaherty for the Veterans Outreach Center. So, Flaherty, please.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity. But before I begin, I'd like to take the opportunity to kind of bring everybody up to date on what we're doing at the Veterans Center. I came to Oneonta because I met my lovely wife to retire and enjoy the community. But I wasn't here more than a couple of months, and circumstances opened up, and I took the position of Chief Administrator for the Veterans Outreach Center. That was March last year. To date, it's just been overwhelming. Even our headquarters up in Utica is amazed at all the things we've been able to do. But we've been able to do it with the support of the community. As an example, we have a food bank. People come in every day, veterans come in, families come in. We don't turn anybody away to get food, but we're constantly being refilled with community donations, both cash and in kind. We have my partner and daughter runs a homeless program for veterans. She was able to place 4 veterans off the streets in Oneonta this past winter, and 3 are in the system now for housing. And I'll tell you a quick story, a success story that we're really excited about. Had a young Navy veteran come in, well, not young, I'm 80, so 82, so he's young. He came in and he was homeless, looking for housing, looking for food. And during the conversation, I asked him about his military service and did he have any issues medically that might be rated by the VA for compensation. And he did, and I put him in for compensation. A week ago, Friday, he came in and he said, Sergeant Major, I don't know what I'm going to do. I went to the bank this morning to see if I had enough money to go to Albany and buy gas to a doctor's appointment. He said it was $42,000 in my bank. So I had put in a compensation case for him and waited months and months and got him compensated at 70%, and he's probably going to go to 100%, which is $4,000 a month for the veteran. So that's a real success story. That makes me go. most of you probably know that we're in the process of buying the armory, and we've had the architects in, and we were looking at putting in 12 transitional housing units. The architects say we can now put in 24 in the basement, second and third floor. So we're excited about that. But I gotta tell you, you know Mr. Zimmerman. Mr. Zimmerman's my 95-year-old Korean War vet, fought in North Korea. And he calls me an alien because I grew up in West Virginia. But he's our oldest, and we have some that are in mid-20s coming out of the Gulf War and out of the military with injuries. And as of this morning, I have 264 open cases for compensation. So it's been a real success story. And the food bank, we have every Thursday, we have an AA meeting for veterans. One of our veterans came to us and said, you know, I go to AA meetings in the community, but with post-traumatic stress, I don't want to talk about my war experiences. What if we start our own? So we started in October with 2. As of last Thursday, we have 11. We have luncheon every month. We're averaging about 80 now coming to the luncheon, veterans and families and community members. Mayor comes every month. We have a female veterans program where we have a dinner at night, and they come in and discuss things among themselves. Marietta runs a support group for widows. So, you know, we're running the whole gamut. So, to that end, I've been working on this for a couple of years with the legislature. A bill was introduced to give veterans who are 100% total and permanent disabled tax exemption, both at the school level and the municipality level. First it was everybody had to opt in. Then it was, no, we'll make it mandatory. Now it's back to, as of this morning, you have to opt in, either through a resolution or a local law. I have handouts if anybody wants them, answering all the questions about it. In the city of Oneonta, I've been working with Hank, the assessor. We've come up with a maximum of 33 veterans that would be getting the tax exemption, which is not a lot. I've been out to other towns, have a meeting with the school board next month. And the impact is minimal. So we ask that you consider giving the veterans that's 100% total and permanent an exemption from taxes. Any questions?
Any questions? I want to add a clarification. I asked the city attorney David Burzik before you started. What I'm saying now is, as of today, that 100% veterans exemption is an active mandate, so that there is no action required from the council for a veteran to apply for it.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah, so don't have to wait for us. Which is good. So that way, those 33 folks you might identify might be able to start the application to get the qualifications so they can get the exemption.
Yeah, all of them have, and Hank and I were talking about it, all of them have registered for their veterans exemption. All veterans get some exemption.
Yeah. So this one, as I understand it, is now mandated on all municipalities so that they just have to apply, and if they're qualified, they'll get it. There's no action required on our part.
Oh, that's great. I don't have to run around every night to.
Thank you.
Yeah. If that changes, or if I'm mistaken, then we will.
I'll call the attorney in Albany tomorrow.
Yeah, if you want to double check, but then we'll talk about it. I think I put it on the roundtable here, what the process was from us. Whether it be a resolution or it be enacting a local law. A resolution is a motion for the council. Enacting law will set a public hearing and then following the hearing, a motion for the council. But if it's already in place and there's no action required, then you're good to go. Yes, please.
Is this property tax and sales tax, or just property
No.
tax?
It's a property tax.
Just property tax. Thank you.
Good question.
Besides, if I get everybody 100%, they're making $4,000 a month, they can spend more for sales tax.
Sure, sure. They're welcome to come downtown and buy something. You have a question or?
I don't, now that we've discussed that.
Which part?
The whole thing. I feel good about it. I'm glad, I hope that it is, so I just Googled it, right?
Yeah.
On the, it wasn't AI, on
What did Google tell you?
on the state website,
Yeah.
it said, I had it up, I put it down. Okay, it says, recent legislation created a new property tax exemption for eligible veterans who are considered permanent and totally disabled as a result of military service. This exemption will apply to assessment rules based on taxable status dates occurring on or after October 1st, 2026. But there are no details. It says they'll be posted when available. So I would be interested to know
Yeah.
for sure that, because we had agreed that we were interested, and then it was mandated, and then I didn't know they took it back, and so now I just wanna know for sure.
Me
Because
too.
I think this council is willing to pass it, and so
Yes.
if that's needed for us.
And it applies to the next year's taxes, not this year,
Yeah.
2027.
Okay, that
Yeah.
sounds right.
Got
Yeah.
an email about earlier today from Duke Merzig about that it was essentially already online, if you will. Maybe there's more information needs to go there, but
Okay,
yeah, we don't have to take any action for a veteran that could qualify, one of those 33 veterans, they could do it.
cool.
Yeah. So
Great.
Just,
Yes, please.
I just wanted to ask, right now it does not apply to school taxes, just,
School taxes they have to opt in.
They have to
But what the mayor's saying is the case, then it'll be mandatory on the
for
schools
the
too.
schools as well, okay.
I don't speak for the schools, but,
Anyone?
but at least in this moment, that's how I understand it, yeah. That's good. So,
Great.
any other questions, or? Well,
Thank you very
for my part, I'm happy, everyone, thank you so much for everything you're doing for our community.
Yeah.
It's lifting everyone up, and start with the veterans, but everyone with them, so thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, that completes the presentations portion. Now we're on to the administrative spotlight, the city administrator's report, so take the text. Here. Just so you can sit.
You're lucky I forgot your hat. We had the Burger King hat with Spain on it for the mayor to wear tonight. I left it in the trailer. So just a few updates that are shared in front of you, council members as well. Union Street to Center Street sanitary sewer main replacement projects is out to bid as of today, I believe. Bid opening is August 6th, so you'll see that coming through Finance Committee or the new committee and on through council. We have an estimate of around $370,000 for the base bid, which is a sewer project. The alternate add is an option that we may or may not take depending on the price, and if we want to fund it this time to replace the water main on Jaeger Ave as well. But we'll get actual bid pricing and come through the committee process and discuss that. Sales tax for May has been reported, $694,000, about the same as 2025, just a little bit less. 2026 year to date, $2.9 million, which is about 6.4% greater than last year. Parks and Rec, I just shared a picture, a couple of our guys on the facilities maintenance crew, Walt and Sean, who along with Gene and supervisor have restored the Lady Liberty. She has another name, but that's the name I know her by in our park. I know Don had mentioned that a while back as something he noticed, so I think it looks pretty good. I wanted to share that with you guys. The Micro Enterprise Grant Program, having received 14 applications, 13 of which were complete. We had $262,500 to award and $436,000 in change in eligible requests, so we couldn't award all of the money requested. There were 10 awards made, 6 of which had to be partial awards due to the limited funds that we had. One business was offered a partial award and respectfully declined given their inability to complete whatever it is they might have been trying to do with just a partial award. The 10 awards that we did make are listed here in the table. I won't read them off. Each of them has until the end of June 2027 to complete their projects. Again, the Micro Enterprise Grant Program has a selection committee of community members that review all of these applications with our community development staff and hopefully make the selections. Public safety and health, law enforcement, as you recall, in the beginning of June, we implemented a 12-hour shift schedule for our patrol division as a pilot program for the end of this year. I met this morning with union representatives as well as Lieutenant Berger, and the feedback so far is very positive. As mentioned here, they say that it's improving morale. There's a noticeable difference in the energy of our staff. Work-life balance is better in their opinion. Overnight sleep schedules, some of them report having better sleep schedule. Staffing coverage when someone needs to go on vacation and looking for someone to cover their shift, they're having coverage. And also, we still see the recruitment potential to attract new candidates to OBD. A few challenges that are being experienced when we have a short-term need for a short turnaround to call somebody in for additional overtime. That can be challenging at times, but they're working on that. It hasn't been something that's been insurmountable or a major issue as far as the lieutenant is concerned, the chief. And then some things as far as certain supervisors when they're off for multiple days at a time, sometimes their emails pile up a bit, and getting quick responses for scheduling changes and things like that. It's just an issue that they need to work through, and they have talked about how they will do that. So we'll continue to monitor it. We'll let you know if there's any other issues or reasons why we might consider ending the pilot sooner than intended. But as of right now, it seems like it's going really well. Almost entirely positive feedback. I think that's good. Pavement maintenance attached is the map of streets that will be micropaved this year. Micropaving is a surface treatment. It's intended to extend the life of the pavement. It's not milling and paving. It's not a whole new structure. It's really something that is very quickly applied. It's a one-day process before you're able to get a matter of hours before you can drive on it again. Obviously, we'll issue PSAs and post the streets for no parking before that work is to be done, which I believe will be early to mid-August, roughly, depending on the contractor's availability. I may mention here, Roundhouse Road is shown on here. That's something that DPW would recommend be micropaved. Of course, that is not a city street. That is owned by the IDA, so it's a private street. In the past, the council, like I mentioned here, 2019, we authorized $20,000 that we gave to the Otsego Now, or maybe the county itself, to do some paving work on the road. Also in 2021, the council directed us to install a couple of streetlights on that street. So understanding the council's documented desire to contribute to the upkeep of this road, and given the Public Works Director's recommendation of micropaving to extend the life of the pavement, avoid the need to reconstruct it any sooner than if you did nothing, I think it would be worth considering splitting the cost of that if Otsego Now is able to pay their half of it. If that's something you would like me to discuss with them, I talked with Jody about it briefly. I can follow up with him and bring forward a motion for approval at the next meeting if that's something you want to do. Our estimate is about $15,000 for the micropaving. This is for this 15. This is a section, the first section of the road, that basically where most of those businesses are from North Fonda heading west. The rest of it was more recently paved and does not need the treatment.
Is 15 our share or what we would split?
Whatever the cost is, what we would split.
Yeah.
I think the estimate's about 15,000.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's exact quote, but it'd be 7,500 piece. Go ahead, if you have some questions.
Any questions? I gather, so the last question you had there, Rick, last on these, talking about, with Otsego Now about micropaving. Motion, just generally.
Wait, are we talking about that right now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Then we'll, do you have another question?
I did.
Yeah.
It was about like prioritization of these streets.
Okay.
Just like, I'm noticing that 2 of them are streets that schools are on. And so I'm just wondering if like those would be done in the summer would probably be ideal. And then, yeah, I just don't know if there's probably a list, right, of like which streets maybe we would do first. And so I'm just wondering if that could be
This work will be done
discussed.
within about a week.
Oh.
And we're hoping to have it done the first 2 weeks of August.
Well, great. Thank you.
And as far as prioritization, we have our street scan technology. We hired that company, City Objects is what it's called now, to scan all the streets. They analyze the pavement conditions. So that, along with our other input and other factors that go into what streets are chosen to be micropaved.
Okay.
We have about $150,000 budget. This is just what we can do within that budget.
Right. Yeah, that's what drew my question, and then the timeline. So thank you.
Please.
Oh, thank you for Lady Liberty.
Oh yeah, she looks beautiful. I just drove by.
Thanks, Sean and Walt.
Yeah.
See us.
Well, please pass it on her. Thanks.
Not good enough for me if you want Greg to look into, let's see what now as far as get some hard numbers on that.
Yeah.
I think if they're
Yeah,
willing
see,
to
not.
split it, that would be great. And if not, then we can reconsider. Yeah.
Yep.
That's my take.
I saw enough nods. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Scott wasn't here, so.
I had
Do you wanna let him dissent? Okay.
Okay. Board commissions, there are no scheduled reports. The committee reports, so we're on to legislative. As I understand it, some of the things were put on the roundtable. But Councilmember Carson could be the who wants to go give us a report.
Well, I just think there's quite a bit in the roundtable. We might as well just talk about it in the roundtable.
All right.
Yeah, I think everything that we talked
Yeah.
about
It's
Is on the
literally,
roundtable?
we
All
set
right.
it up.
So I'll be looking at you first when you turn on table. Or second.
No,
depends where you
I'm
are.
good on that.
All right. Okay. Finance and Human Resources, I think is.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
So we met on the 16th, a lot of stuff is on your consent agenda. It was a very good meeting. And I'm actually I know there's a couple of questions that were asked, so I'd rather just let the people be able to ask their questions.
I understand there was one question, maybe. Councilmember Matthew, you have a question?
Yes, trying to remember which, I had two things I wanted to ask about. The Historical Society and the caboose, and also the housing rehab. Which one of them, Carrie, could it?
You had said that you wanted to pull 6.
Right.
To talk about 7.
So, and this is the area where I asked about that.
Yes.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure I got it right. So, so Scott, could you explain what the program does, the Oneonta Housing Rehab? What do they do?
Judy. Judy's the better at it than I am. I'll screw it up.
The city got a $750,000 grant for housing rehab. So it's going to be doing up to about 16 homes, depending on the cost of each one. For low and moderate income homeowners and renters for 1 to 4 family homes. And it's a 2-year grant. And this motion is to hire a consultant to administer the program for us.
How do homeowners apply for this grant?
We'll be putting out, once we have the consultant on board, they'll be working with us to come up with the application and guidance materials, and then we'll be putting that out and making it available on our website and however else we can get it out to the public. And then they apply to our consultant, and our consultant does all of the determining the eligibility, and we work with them as they do that. So there's income limits for an owner of the house, and then for a rental property, they have to rent to low and moderate income people. More than 50% of the units have to be rented to low and moderate income people, and they have rent thresholds after the grant's done.
So this could be for owner occupied and rentals? How do we promote this, letting the public know when it's available?
We'll be putting it on our social media. I'm not sure yet, we'll decide how we can do that. We have all their addresses. We'll be contacting landlords. We'll be doing as much of a public outreach effort as we can to get that word out. That's a lot of money, so it's gonna take a lot of public outreach to get that spent.
Yeah, that was my last
And
question.
we wanna spend every dime of it.
In our track record in the past, does it get fully?
Our track record in the past with this type of program has been very, very good. We did have one grant that we had to return quite a bit of money on, and that was the lead lateral program. That actually was a housing grant that paid for lead water laterals, and then we couldn't get people to take that grant money. So we opened it up for sewer laterals as well, and still couldn't get people to take it. So that's one of the few housing grants we've had that the majority of it got returned. Other than that, we have had a really good track record with this type of rehab, where you're actually renovating the house itself. People just had no interest in replacing their laterals, unfortunately.
I put it up again.
Twice now?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I think Kate,
I've been eager over here.
she got two
All right,
hands, she got 2 hands up.
I did, so, you answered one of the questions that I had, which was, were there any stipulations about owner occupied versus, rental properties? So my question is about the, eligibility requirements for, people who own rental properties. So the income eligibility factors are on the people that they're renting to. Are those driven by the grant? And if so, do we have any authority to make them potentially more narrow?
No, we have to follow, this is a nationally funded program that
Okay.
comes through the state, so we have to follow the program requirements. So the income of the tenants have to meet the low and moderate income limits put out by the HUD, basically, that comes down through the state for Otsego County.
We don't have-
can't, so if you have, so I said over 50% of units have to be low and moderate income, and the landlord, the owner of the property has to commit to that, to rent to them after the project is complete. So if you have a 4-unit, 3 of those units have to be low and moderate income, not
Right.
2, it has to be more than 50%.
And it's that single property, it's not all the properties under the portfolio of the
No, it's
developer?
just that property that, so if it's a 4-unit and they only work on 2 units, the whole 4-unit property has to meet that requirement, not
Gotcha.
just the 2 units that were fixed.
Gotcha.
But their other properties don't come into play, it's just the one property that we're granting.
Okay, and my question was just based on, like, I know sometimes, with most things that under the umbrella, right, like, we have to follow things but, that are set, like, for example, by the state, but then we have that opportunity to make them slightly more narrow or more prescriptive, and I was just wondering if it was similar here.
Not in this case.
No.
This case, the state will require paperwork where they commit to this grant. It'll be I'm not sure if it's a 5-year or 10-year forgivable grant.
Okay.
So, and that's all to be worked out in the details as we get the guidance material ready with the consultant. But they'll have to, there's pretty firm commitments.
Okay, and so is this a reimbursement grant, or do you get the money up front?
It will be a reimbursement grant, well, it's a incurred cost grant. So as we get the invoices from the contractor, so the homeowner hires the contractor.
Okay.
The homeowner will have a contract with the contractor. Our consultant will help them with that process. When the homeowner gets an invoice for the work, they turn that into us. We
Okay.
turn it into the state, and the state pays
That's awesome.
us, and then we pay it. I think I'd have to look back and see.
Okay.
on that.
But it's not
should.
something where they pay it and then they have to submit that
Yeah,
they've paid it, 'cause
the
I know.
homeowner won't have to front those costs.
Okay, because with the.
The contractor just has to be a little bit patient.
Right, which is tough,
There's a
for sure,
process.
but, some of the feedback that I got, actually, most of the feedback that I got from the lead lateral thing was that it was a reimbursement, so you had to do the work and pay for it, and then submit for reimbursement, which is, a hardship
That
for
was the
many.
same as this.
Oh, was it?
The problem we had with that one, the main problem was that one required a mortgage filed with the county.
Oh, okay,
And the forgiveness, and that was the problem. People didn't want a mortgage for a lateral.
okay,
They didn't want a
gotcha,
second mortgage on their home,
okay,
or even a first mortgage. Some of the people were elderly, they didn't want a 10-year commitment
sure,
for their heirs to have to deal with. And so there was a whole number of reasons.
yeah, that was the one I heard the most, so they must have just not totally understood that.
Yeah, no, that one was the same funding source as this one.
Okay. It seems like that would be a good, I don't know if there's any overlap, sorry, I'm getting a little bit off topic. I don't know if there's any overlap between the lead service lines and the first-time homebuyer, people who have done the first-time homebuyer program. Is there any outreach to people who've done that? Because they seem like,
The lead lateral service project was offered to the people that had identified lead laterals.
okay,
And at the time, there was only 135.
okay,
And then there were more, during the grant, when we weren't getting the, people just weren't interested in it. we had identified more, we reached out to them. Then we opened it up for sewer as well and reached out and tried to do public outreach to let people know
Yeah.
if you have a problem with your sewer lateral. But that work is something people don't care about,
Yeah.
really, too much, you know,
Yeah.
until their sewer is working, then they do.
Right.
And the lead laterals, for some reason, just didn't really strike the people.
Gotcha.
And there were, that also was for, single-family homes and rentals. And we didn't have much interest from the rentals,
Really?
unfortunately.
That's a bummer. Well, hopefully this one will be more successful. Thank you for answering my questions.
Maybe I was gonna ask, is now the grant, is it also for interior and exterior? Are there limits on what the grant money can be used for?
The money typically is to be used to bring a house up to code.
Okay.
It's not to make their kitchen pretty, it's to make their kitchen meet code. It can be used for exterior, like roof, paint, porches, things like that. It cannot be used for, or it can't be used for like, landscaping, or if they have a retaining wall or something like that, it cannot be used for anything beyond the house. I think so.
So the consultant would determine what, with that land owner or that.
Yeah,
what
the consultant,
is-
the consultant had, they have a great deal of expertise with determining not just what work needs to be done, but, cost estimates as well.
Mhm.
And then they get the formal cost estimates from contractors after they come up with a budget
Okay. And what is the maximum?
per house.
Yeah, per.
There isn't, technically there isn't one because, if there's lead paint in the home, then that has to be addressed and there's a limit on them.
Okay.
So I can't, typically the grants are somewhere in the $30,000 to $35,000 range, but if there's lead, it can go way up from that.
Okay. Thank you.
Good report. Okay, budget review and strategic planning.
We did meet yesterday,
Oh, nice.
in anticipation of the new, committee structure
Okay.
coming.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, so then we're on to the approval of warrants. Motion that the common council approves the warrants received as of July 21st, 2026, in a total amount to be determined following the complete implementation of the accounts payable module within the Tyler Technology ERP Pro Financial System, provided that the detailed list of warrants shall be presented to the common council for review as soon as it is available. Is there a motion? Councilmember Matheson first, Councilmember Marks second. Questions on that? Yes, please. Self-explanatory.
Question.
Yeah.
So this is different language than we usually approve. It usually has a number.
The problem that is, if you want to call it that, is that we're in transition with the Tyler Technologies, and because it's in transition, the number isn't calculable because they're going. So they still want to be able to essentially pay the bills, and then once the number is available, they'll report back. They don't want to delay any payments.
So we're buying something that we don't know the price.
No, it's saying that because we're in that transition period.
I understand.
Yeah. So, don't expect that this will be the routine language going forward once implementation is complete.
Okay.
Good question, thank you. Other questions? Okay, Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Rose Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember McHugh.
Aye.
Councilmember LaGarcia.
Aye.
Councilmember Harrison.
Yes.
Councilmember Marks.
Yes.
Councilmember Matheson.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, the consent agenda. I've heard some rumors there might be a request to remove one of the items. Is that
Yes,
correct?
I'd like to remove number 6 and move it to discussion.
Got it, thank you. Just the one motion?
Yes.
Okay, would anyone else like to move one? Yes, please.
No, I don't want to move on.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
good.
good. You'd like to move one?
Maybe 9, please.
Maybe, or?
Yeah,
I
that
don't
would be
work well
good.
with maybes.
Okay, 9,
Just do
please.
it.
Let's just do it, right? We'll talk about it.
All right, so we'll move number 6 and number 9.
Thanks.
Okay, anyone else? Like? Okay, so I just need a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
That, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a motion.
Yeah,
Foley
she
is
was
first,
real
second
early.
to, Marshu. Clerk, will you please call the roll now. For the motions, with the exception now of 6 and 9, move to a discussion agenda.
Councilmember Rowland Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember McHugh.
Aye.
Councilmember DeBarge.
Aye.
Councilmember
Well,
That's you.
yes.
Councilmember Marks.
Yes.
Councilmember Matheson.
Yes.
You gotta speak
You
up.
need the bell. You need the bell.
Huh?
All right, before we move on to the discussion agenda, which includes 4 motions, so we just now appointed 2 new members to the Landmarks and Historic Preservation Commission, and the Public Arts Commission, Abby Bishop and Amin Zoe. These are new appointments, so 2 new members. And I had a really nice conversation with Amin, and I'm looking forward to meeting with Abby, so it's really nice to have some new members joining with ambitions in the sense that they want to contribute, and they're coming with some ideas, so. Thank you for approving, and thanks to them for willing to step forward and serve the city. So now we're moving to discussion agenda. We have number 6. Motion, the motion that the common council authorizes the finance director to accept a donation in the amount of $3,021 from the Greater Oneonta Historical Society to be restricted for use by the City of Oneonta Department of Public Works for the replacement of plexiglass panels at the Red Caboose Pavilion in Neola Park, and further authorizes any necessary budget amendments for said acceptance. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, his name was first. So
All right,
Councilmember
second.
Harrington's first, Councilmember Park Shu is second, and Councilmember Madison. I assume you have some questions. You want to talk about it?
Right, so when I first spoke to folks over at the the Historical Society, they said that they were gonna raise the money privately to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And they raised a little over $3,000, but they're short a little over $7,000. So my first thought was maybe we should not act on this and let's see if they can continue to raise more money. And if they don't, we could deal with it when we're creating next year's budget. Because I don't like the idea of spending money from the general fund contingency on something when they said they thought they could raise the money. But I would if they come back in 6 months and say we can't raise the money.
As I read this motion, this is accepting the donation. It's not a dual part of spending money.
Right, but their plan is that they would, somewhere in here when I was reading through this, they're basically asking.
They're not there
for
yet. Yeah.
Right, but
Yeah.
they're going to ask for $7,298.20.
So they're going to ask for $7,000 that the city
Right.
would them. Okay.
So
I-
what I'm suggesting is that
Mhm.
we shelve this and Greg wants to.
I understand what you're saying. What I'm hearing is that they're going to come to us and you want to give them more time
To
see if
raise
they can
more
raise
money.
more money. So I don't necessarily see that question in front of us as far as asking us to spend the $7,000. So what I would recommend is, from my point of view, is this is accepting the donation, and then when the Historical Society either comes to us with another donation or then the request to begin the work, then we can address that concern at that time. But noted,
Greg wanted to
yeah.
comment?
Yeah, so
Go
to
ahead.
clarify, this would be accepting the donation for this purpose.
Yeah.
The current estimate to replace the glass is $10,319 and change. That would be an expense that I could authorize transfer from contingency, which is what Don's referring to in the first one.
Mhm.
And we would execute the work and go for it, but that wouldn't require any council approval or any further donation. So we're planning to do that. However, this morning I learned from Chris and Jean in inspecting the structure, there might be some additional work that we would need to do related to the framing around the plexiglass, so we need to wait and see what that cost is going to be before we can see how much it will cost to go forward. If that's significantly more, where it's something more than I'm comfortable transferring from contingency or more than I can authorize from contingency, then we may have to come back to the council for a budget amendment or a transfer that's over $20,000. So it's a little wrinkle in it, but as it stands right now, if they have $3,000 and change to donate, we can accept that and either go forward with the project or not. But in my conversations with Marcel Mucucci at OHS, I didn't get the impression that they were continuing to fundraise, but I could be wrong.
Go ahead. Yes, please.
So, you can, on your own account, you can come up with $7,000. You don't need council approval for that?
Right, I can transfer up to $20,000 for different purposes. I mean, part of the discussion at
Finance, which didn't happen because there was only one that.
Right, I
And
recall
now
that, right.
was accepting this donation, and is this something you want to go forward and do? $7,000, I think, is a comfortable amount to transfer into the project, but it's gonna be significantly more, which we will find out exactly what that is, and that may change the thinking,
Who owns the structure?
the city.
I didn't, I thought they owned it. So the city owns it? So then we really don't have any choice.
It
It's
is
our
something that
building.
we will need
Got
to
to
do
fix it.
eventually to maintain it.
Thank you. Okay.
Councilmember Marks, yes, please.
I was just going to ask, it doesn't preclude the fact that the Greater Oneonta Historical Society could still continue with donations similar to Swart Wilcox Barn Project. There could be more donations that could come in to offset the costs that the city might have to do to make sure this happens.
But there's no
Certainly nothing
motivation.
would preclude
But there-
them from
there's
doing
no-
that. I'm not aware of an ongoing fundraising campaign.
But it could still happen.
It could.
Don, I don't know if you're familiar with the history of why it was enclosed. When I was a kid, it was not enclosed, it was covered. It was covered. And the Smithsonian Institution threatened to remove it from the city because it was being deteriorating in the situation that was there. And as a result, there was fundraising to put on a plexiglass to the satisfaction of the Smithsonian in order to leave it, in order to continue to keep it here in Oneonta. So that's the history, and that what's currently there now is what was first done. And I don't know how long ago it was, but it's been a long time. So there's been some deterioration since then, obviously, and that's why we're doing it.
Thank you.
And also to prevent any vandalism to the structures.
And rodents and all of that. Yeah, I've been in there a few times during it's open once a year, I believe. Okay.
Satisfied?
Mhm.
Good. Other questions or comments?
No.
Okay, clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Roger Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Mathieu.
Aye.
Councilmember LaFarge.
Aye.
Councilmember Harrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Marks.
Yes.
Councilmember Nye.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, motion number 9. Motion that the common council approves the purchasing agent's recommendation to award the bid for the timber sale, 90 acres to the highest responsive bidder, Dutchess Lumber Company in Cortland, New York, in the amount of $130,044, recognizing per contract the city's timber agent, Northeast Timber Services of Walton, New York, receives a 15% commission on the total sales. Motion?
Sure.
Councilmember Harrington and Councilmember, first, a second by Councilmember Matheson. And I think this, you want to
That
start
was
us
me.
off? Yes,
Got
please.
in trouble.
Go ahead. No, you're.
I had emailed about this, and Greg got back to me, which I appreciated. I just know that this routine, we do it every year, but we have had a lot of times after the fact, like complaints about the process, and I am not opposed to doing this, but I just wanted to kind of put that out, that, I hope that we have made assurances that, the things like learn from, the grievances that we've had previously and are able to execute this in a way that is good land stewardship. And I would like to just talk about during the council roundtable ways in which the environmental board might be able to integrate into this process in an advisory capacity, just with regard to, again, just like good environmental practices during the logging. So that's it, that's my comment. Thank you. No question. Yep.
Other comments or questions? Yes, please.
The only questions I've heard about the logging was logging in close proximity to streams and water courses. And I don't know if that's been taken into account this time, but in the past, that was the main objection that I heard to logging on city land.
Cemetery too.
Yeah, the cemetery.
But also just like some of the conditions that some of it has been left in. I will say, maybe Greg, you wanna say this better than I can, but about the watershed management plan, et cetera, you may wanna speak to that, which I think is great. I think, what I'm thinking about is, you you had mentioned that we don't do any like reforestation, but just making sure that like, you know, we're not allowing, invasive species in, you know, to populate disturbed areas and things like that, where I think that the environmental board, might be able to help us kind of just develop some, I don't know, techniques around that kind of thing. So anyway, sorry, watershed management plan, but I just want to say that.
Yeah, so there's been some discussion about a watershed management plan. Chris Yakuchi's had some discussions with a representative from the Department of Health about, they're gonna present to us in the next few weeks on how they might be able to assist with something like it more of a water source and supply protection plan, which would kind of couple with a watershed management plan. And we're gonna reach out to some consultants that we know do that sort of thing that can assist us with it. It would be a 2027 budget request. I believe the environmental board several months ago passed a motion recommending to the council that we pursue that. I believe that was something we did to advise them on that, on the process to make those recommendations to the council. So that's something we can consider funding. I think it would be a good idea. That might more specifically address some of the concerns that have been raised. As far as reforestation, that's something that's more when there's a clear cut area or like the grant we applied for, or the Soil and Water Conservation District applied for that we supported on our property where there's a field that's going to be reforested to grow back again. Whereas the type of select cut that's being done here, we're not clearing large areas, it's selective throughout the wooded areas, so they grow back pretty quickly. So there's not a need for planting new trees, it kind of happens naturally. I don't know if Chris had anything else he wants to add to that.
You covered it.
That's fine.
Any other questions or comments?
Well, I was
Yes,
just
please.
going to say, or mention that the proceeds will fund that forest management program and less reliance on, you know, taking out of reserves and general fund.
Yeah, and something that I recall from going through, you know, some of these concerns before, you know, is that some of these, you know, some of what they're taking down is really stuff that needs to come down. And even what I recall about there was that concern brought up about the cemetery at first, that it was concerned that they were, too close, but then it turned out that if they didn't remove that one, that it was, am I correct, that it was gonna cause more damage? And so it was actually proactive that they were operating close to that, you know, site. I'm sure that, you know, each site is unique, you know, but it, you know, I feel like I've been reassured in the past that, you know, they're taking those into concern as well. Consideration.
One more
Yeah,
thing.
one
Yeah.
more thing is that this will be the last round of watering on the watershed for a number of years. We've done these, it seems like every year since 2021 or two, I think. But we likely won't have another case for maybe decades. Just give it a cycle of things, Chris.
This is our 6th or 7th contract doing this, and it has been done every single year since I started. And so it's been 5 years going. And this particular project, there's a map included in the packet you all have that identifies the location. It is away from our reservoir, main stems of our reservoir. So there are really no major water courses in this timber harvest.
Thank you. Great. Great. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Rogers Pinball.
Aye.
Councilmember Hughes.
Aye.
Councilmember Paluccio.
Aye.
Councilmember Henry.
Yes.
Councilmember Marks.
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion 20, that the common council authorizes the Department of Public Works to install within the city right-of-way adjacent to 4244 Fair Street a historic marker provided by the Greater Oneonta Historical Society commemorating the former Oneonta Fairgrounds, which was the site of the Central New York Fair from 1873 to 1927, and its racetrack, now known as Belmont Circle. Is there a motion? It's a race, and you lost that. Councilmember Parshu first, and in a close second. Councilmember
See my nose.
Photo finish on that. Okay, this is a discussion. Where are we on
Who
this?
pulled?
No, I just want to say,
Yeah, please.
that'll be great to recognize that piece of history in the first part.
Likewise.
Yeah. It's a great collaboration between the city and the Greater Oneonta Historical Society, a nice, inexpensive way to just maintain that history and culture and for all to enjoy.
Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Rosas.
Aye.
Councilmember McHugh.
Aye.
Councilmember LaFrentine. Councilmember Harrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Rush.
Yes.
Councilmember Matheson.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion that the Common Council, this is number 21, that the Common Council authorizes the Department of Public Works to install within the city right-of-way at the intersection of State Street and Maple Street a historic marker provided by the Greater Oneonta Historical Society commemorating Old Main, formerly the Oneonta Normal School, which was established in 1889 and raised in 1977.
That was up to you.
I'm not.
Shots fired.
Councilmember LaPrice Shoes first. Councilmember Mushigan Floyd second. Not as close that time as it was the first time. Okay. Questions or comments on this one? I'd say similar comments. This is a good thing.
It's great.
Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Rosas.
Aye.
Councilmember McHugh.
Aye.
Councilmember LaFrentine.
Aye.
Councilmember Harrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Rush.
Yes.
Councilmember Matheson.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the discussion agenda, and now we're on to the roundtable part, which is a little longer than it's been in the past. So we're gonna work through this, maybe not top to bottom, but so, I think order of operations, I'd like to talk about, I've been wrong before on which one's gonna take longer on discussion. My feeling is that the downtown waste management planning, might be the short one.
Really?
Nope. Take that back.
I thought the veterans property tax.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one's pretty much already been wiped out because we were talking about that one. That one is, I guess, the shortest one now, so I'll keep it short by just saying, again, thanks to Gary Flaherty and his presentation, and the 33 veterans that he's identified, and hopefully he'll start working with them so they can apply for and receive those exemptions. If we are mistaken or if it has changed, then we can bring it back as far as action for the council so that it can be enacted, but as far as I understand it, they are ready to go. That was the short one. Okay, so let's do the one with the asterisks next to it then. Actually, okay. I'll do the top one. Smart Growth Comprehensive Plan and Brownfield Opportunity Area Steering Committee has been identified, and I can say it. Yeah, there are 8 people on there, and I didn't print it, the names, but we submitted to the state. If you'd like to know, I'll tell you their names, so I don't. I'm pulling it up so I don't make any mistakes. I didn't have it printed so I could tell you, but this was. All right, so here are the committee members. There's no motion on this. I think it's by my recommendation appointments, and then it goes to the Department of State for review and approval, which is really sort of, I don't want to say the word like it's an automatic thing, but either way, it's essentially automatic. So the committee would be chaired by Scott Dalrymple, who's the executive in residence at Harvard College Business Department. Second, or vice chair, Dave Risberger, you know him, current on the Planning Commission, former council member. Another member, Cecilia Walsh-Russo for the council. Another member, Kelsey Rockefeller, business owner for Yoga People. Another member, Tafreese Forth Moran, who's a Greater Plains Elementary School teacher. Mark Davies, from School of Education from SUNY Oneonta, former council member. Michael Geary, a VP of Operations at Fox Hospital. And Alexis Van Duzen, who's a business owner for new owner of Kyneton Florist. So we have 8 members there. I think they will, first order of operations is to meet with Judy and review the bids on the consultant. And then once they decide who that's going to be, who's essentially awarded that bid, then they'll start work. So this is good. Okay. Any questions on that? The goal here, when I went after the different folks, is to try to have a mix of people that have participated in previous things with the state, so they have some institutional knowledge that they can bring to the process, as well as bringing new people. So there are 4 people that your names are familiar with, and 4 people that are new. So hopefully there's a good mix. And also representing some of the larger institutions, as well as entrepreneurs, and trying to make it as diverse as we can There were no minimums or maximums as far as community members go, so I thought, try to make it a nice even number would be a good way to go. All right, so that was the second easiest one. All right, battery storage, energy storage systems, tobacco retail licensing program, and traffic fines were three things that were brought to the legislative committee. So would you like to just start us off on those?
Yes, so the chief came and spoke with us at our meeting. There is a NYSERDA presentation that we did ask if it could come here, to give us a presentation about the storage systems. He felt that, though he kept saying he was not fully against it, what would happen, or whatever, that this might be a good move. The potential that I did get out of him was that there possibly could be a fire, but that's any risk.
Who's him?
The chief.
I'm sorry. Oh, our chief.
Yes,
Right.
our
Oh,
chief.
okay.
Wait.
You said
Fire
NYSERDA.
permit?
I thought you said NYSERDA.
I thought so too.
Yes, but he came and spoke to us and had mentioned about the NYSERDA. And the NYSERDA, would you just talk now?
Oh, so you're saying he, you're Chief Knapp. You said he, I thought that was a NYSERDA person.
When I said chief? That
No,
is the chief from
you said
NYSERDA?
he and I got confused.
No, I said the chief came and gave us the presentation.
Now I understand.
Okay. I'm good. You wanna take it, Caroline?
Yeah, sure. So if anybody has had time to look through the battery energy storage system guidebook, it's quite extensive. And, well, at our legislative meeting, we talked about, Shannon, we talked about the possibility of, it would be appropriate this time maybe we were discussing the options available, moratorium versus enactment of legislation surrounding the system. So I'm not really quite sure where we should be with that, but I agree with Shannon that we should have NYSERDA come and give us a presentation as well as help us through the entire process.
They already have.
Presentation on the agenda, you mean?
So NYSERDA already has like something that they're following, like to do a moratorium. So I think having them come speak to us, like explain it all, and then also, I guess that, Chief Knapp come back and if we wanted, to present the council around it.
So would you like to have a presentation at the next council meeting from NYSERDA?
Probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I just ask a question? So, I just want to make sure that I'm understanding correctly. So, there's someone from NYSERDA who is, an expert in all of this. And then we also have Chief Knapp, who maybe has concerns because of the potential flammability
They're
of something like this.
meeting with a bunch of, he's like meeting with a bunch of chiefs from different places.
Okay.
And they're trying to work on this in their communities as well.
And so
finding spaces.
Oh, so the goal is to find space
I don't know
for
if
one
that's
of
the
these?
goal, but like that was part of the discussion is like, well, we don't have a city center, we're gonna probably want to, you know what I mean? But
Sort
I
of
think-
getting ahead of it? Sorry, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
understand like where
I think
okay.
that's what it is, and also, I think we wanted to bring it right to council, cause it was gonna be heavy, so.
Gotcha. So,
So maybe we should have a presentation at the next meeting, maybe from Chief Knapp and NYSERDA together?
yeah,
Okay.
just like an orientation into
Yep.
this. And so, was this, who brought this to us?
Chief.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
I did check out the packet that you mentioned, and it's a lot of information,
There is a lot.
and I made it, partway through, but I see that there's a lot to digest in there
Yes.
still, so.
The Q&A, the questions,
That's
really the
what I'm
myth
working
first,
through.
which
Okay.
was really very, very helpful because you were hearing different comments and really sorting myth from
Yeah.
fiction
Yeah.
and what is true. But I think having the
The
NYSERDA
chief
come
and
and give a
NYSERDA
presentation
should be
is
good.
really important.
Can either one of you confirm that they're available for the next meeting? And then we can put that on the agenda?
Okay.
I don't have like a secret NYSERDA contact, so someone else does.
I think someone over here does.
I spoke with Chief Knapp, he's gonna reach out to my service.
Okay, thank you, Greg, because
So
I
Chief,
don't
Chief Knapp can
have.
take the lead on setting up that presentation.
So,
They
I mean,
supposed to.
I think, not Brian, what the heck is our cold guy? John. I think John should be here as part of the conversation as well, because legislation can be as easy as we just modify our city code versus doing a moratorium. Like, we could put standards on it of, you know, how close you want to a healthcare facility or a school, you know, stuff like that. This was because John and I have had conversations along with Chief Knapp about battery storage and stuff, how close you want it to waterways and, you know, densities and stuff like that. So I just, if you're gonna have a conversation, I'd just like to have the codes, John
Okay.
included as well.
Thank you. Yes, please.
I have two questions.
Mm.
One is that, did somebody want to come and build one of these in the city?
As far as I know, there's no actual application submitted yet, but there has been some interest, but there's no application.
And the only time I remember hearing anything about battery storage, I could be wrong about this, but on, what, the solar array that we were talking about, what is it, Silas Lane? I believe they were planning a battery storage facility as well. So,
No,
Is that not
we're
correct?
getting a
No.
shake, we're getting a head shake. Nope.
No, that's incorrect. I think that's.
No, they're not looking at that.
okay, because they were going, so if they produce surplus electricity, they would just send it to the grid?
Right. And we
Okay.
connected behind the meter to the wastewater plant to serve that facility, and then the rest would go to the grid and remote crediting via wireless
Okay.
water city bill.
And there was no discussion of a battery?
No, very early on, there might have been a mention of that, but they haven't proposed that, they're not looking at that at all.
Thank you.
All right, so maybe we actually move for that one real quick. We'll plan a presentation, ask Chief Knapp to take the lead on presenting at the next council meeting. And if he's ready, then we'll put that on the presentation, and that might stir up some discussion about the action. So what Councilmember Harrington said, as far as, there might be some quick guidance that we can go with, as opposed to the moratorium. Moratorium sort of gives you time and space to go after it, but there's a clear guidance that we can implement, and maybe we can look at that,
Well, the
and that might be better for us. Go ahead.
The moratorium would be because it'll give us time, right? It's like to look at these things more in depth, and then we've got to put a pause on everything while we're trying to figure it all out. Is really
Yeah,
what we do.
I think you might find that because NYSERDA has put together a model statute,
Yeah.
that when they come here, they're gonna say, you should adopt the model statute which we're proposing. So it's highly likely that they're gonna recommend the model statute that they put together. So if they say, why don't you adopt the model statute that we put together, then if we adopted the statute, then instead of having a moratorium for a year when we did nothing, and then adopted the statute, we just adopt the statute that they suggest.
Okay.
That might be a quicker.
So you've had an opportunity to look at that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can
So
look at
then
it,
that is an
online,
option
and
too.
presumably when they come.
Yeah, so if we have a
When
presentation.
NYSERDA comes, they'll suggest that we adopt the model statute, I mean. Yeah.
Good.
But let's see what they have to say.
Thank you.
So we'll put that presentation on there. Okay, so now we're on to tobacco retail licensing program.
Katie started this.
I did totally start it. I was actually gonna say that so I read through the memo,
Good.
and I would like to, if it's okay, I mean, maybe work on it a little bit and then present it back to the legislative committee based on the feedback that we got from the city attorneys. It's kind of like my baby, you know?
Mhm.
I'm willing to do that, right? I don't wanna like step on anybody's toes, but I would be happy to take some of that feedback into consideration and try to hone it down and
I don't think you're stepping on anybody's
re-present it. Okay, that'd be great, thanks. Okay.
Somebody wants to take the lead on something, I think we're all happy.
Yeah, when we hear those words, we're like, you got it, yeah, yeah.
Cool,
Okay,
thank
I'm
you.
gonna put that down, so present to legislation
Yeah.
with some of the fixes, noted by the attorney.
Yep.
Good.
Thanks.
Wow, that was actually.
I know, I thought about saying.
Yes, yes,
I have a
please.
question. So essentially, the goal would be to make it harder to buy tobacco within the city limits. And over time, as the various restrictions that are being proposed or looked at, could take a year, could take 10 years or 20 years, but there'd be no tobacco sold in the city limits.
So, no. So my intention was to make tobacco products and the amount of places that sell tobacco products prominently less prevalent in our community, because exposure leads to familiarity, right? So the more there are around, sort of speaking to some of the feedback that Mr. Merzick gave us, the more that there are around, the more commonplace it seems for people to be, there's more access, there's more, so my goal in reducing the number is just in understanding the fact that there are like 27 or something, which is like a huge amount for our community, and to reduce the instances of people even trying cigarettes or tobacco products, vape products in the first place and getting addicted. So that's the goal of the legislation, and then the attrition is not down to 0, it's down to a number that the council could choose from time to time.
Well, if the goal, as you stated, why don't we just, I don't know if we have the legal authority to do this, but why don't we just say tobacco sales are banned within the city limits? Can we do that?
Can't do that.
Why don't we talk
Can't do
about
that?
it? Why don't we just talk about it offline?
Well, we just got the answer, we can't.
Right, well, just in terms of like, any suggestions that you have for the legislation, like I'm gonna revisit it, so I'm happy to take it into account.
I don't have any suggestions, I'm just trying to think that, you know, you just go to the town and, you know, go over to Southside and you can buy
That's true,
cigarettes.
but 7-year-olds don't have cars,
I know,
so.
no, I think what you're trying to
They
accomplish.
shouldn't, right?
I have no problem with
That's
what
law
you're
for a
trying to
reason.
accomplish, but I'm just saying, so if we can't just ban tobacco sales outright, I guess this is the way you reduce the availability.
Thanks, Don. I appreciate it. That ended in a vote of confidence, and I really liked it, so thank you.
So, and the license, if it, we've had a couple of places, I believe, there were vape shops that were closed.
Yeah.
So if someone reopens in that spot, does that that license won't automatically transfer to a new owner? Is that what we're also looking at?
Not in the legislation that I proposed. It would not automatically transfer.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be a lapse. Yeah. The one, I guess for the county, and that was actually one of the things that I really disliked about the one that was presented to us last time, was the one that was based on a county legislation, was said that it would just transfer. And I don't wanna support that. That's not what I'm putting forward anyway. I don't know, it's up to us if we decide to go that route, but that's not what I'm suggesting, so. Good question.
Thank you. Next is traffic fines draft ordinance. Who's-
That's where the amount was going to be raised from
I saw
Yeah.
that. I wondered what that was about.
$50 to
Yeah, and
300.
yes, which I'm trying to argue that is highway robbery, like, that is going to impede families, I think it's quite a bit of money. If people make minimum wage, this is the example I gave at legislative, right, if you make minimum wage and you go to work and you get a ticket and it's $50, you can probably pay that ticket in a paycheck or two and it's not gonna totally ruin your life. But if you make minimum wage, you get a $300 and some odd ticket, like for a first ticket, like that could very well mean that you don't have a car, you don't have your license, you don't have, like, you know, or the ways to pay for that, right?
Impact, low income.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
And so I'm very concerned.
This doesn't change the fines.
I was gonna
It
say,
just means that the fines go to the city of Oneonta instead of to New York State. Doesn't change the fines at all.
oh, cool.
Yeah.
The purpose of
Yeah,
this
I would love some
legislation is
context.
to allow
Cool.
city police, instead of doing the New York State vehicle and traffic laws, to issue local vehicle and traffic violations. We do that, then the fines come to the city of Oneonta.
Oh my gosh.
Right now, they are all going to New York State, same fines. It's just that they're going to New York State. They have nothing to do with the amounts of the fines.
Wait, Greg, you had said that they were,
They're eligible for the diversion program.
great.
But that does not mean that the fines are gonna go up over and above what New York State already authorizes.
They're matching New York State's. So yes, it is lower now in the local, but by matching, that is, my understanding, is what allows the city prosecutor to utilize that instead.
So you understand,
They'll go to diversion.
they can,
Okay.
but the point is that right now, all of the money is going to New York State and none of it's staying in the city of Oneonta. If we adopt this, then the money will come to the city of Oneonta, which we can use for other purposes, for example, like paying for the maintenance of the public defender or the DA that we're currently paying $68,000 a year for. If we had income from that, then that would be money that would not have to be paid out of the budget. So that's the theory. It's not in order to charge people more money than they're currently having.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay,
Oh, sorry, Elizabeth.
Yeah, Carolyn.
Oh, I was just, and you had mentioned a diversion
Yeah.
program. So in other words, if someone could not pay that particular fine,
No.
It's
It's
The
diversion.
diversity allows them to pay a fine instead of having a plea of guilty and having to appear in court.
oh, okay, that's what that means,
That,
thank
they
you.
then become eligible.
Yeah,
And if they keep their nose clean, then it doesn't become a record. And so it's a way to avoid the entire court appearance process. And
Okay,
that's currently in effect for the county level, but the diversion program is not.
Okay, so what are? Go, sorry,
Still
I
have
forgot
two
your hand was up.
questions.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, see, I put it down.
Yeah.
Okay, so one is, what is prompting this change? Because
The
it sounds
court
great.
called me and the DA called me and said, would you like a way to get a lot more money because we're currently sending it all to New York State? And we feel bad because this money could be staying here
Oh.
in the city of Oneonta.
Well,
So
thank
why don't you
goodness for
pass this
that.
legislation and then you'll have money, for example, to pay the DA, which we're currently paying the DA out of our regular funds, and then we'd be raising money
I get it.
instead of sending it to Albany, which we then never see.
I totally get it. My question was like, based in, like, why haven't we done this before? But, second question, and I don't know who could answer this question for me, but one thing that, I brought up previously is like parking on front lawns, which is currently handled by code enforcement. Does this give the police department authority to write tickets for
This is a
people parking on
state,
their
this
front
is, you understand, this is a statewide problem. There is no provision under the vehicle and traffic law to give tickets on public property.
On private
Vehicle
property?
and traffic has to be in the street.
Gotcha.
These cars are not in the street, therefore the only thing that we can do is
Bummer.
give them parking tickets.
Okay,
Right, we can't give them parking tickets, we give them code violations.
okay.
And then proving who the person is who owns it, who owns the car,
Right.
becomes problematic.
Right, my only question was whether this would absorb that, and
It
it's,
does.
does
It
not.
does.
Asked and answered. All right, thank you very much.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I wish it did, believe me.
Okay, so order of operations with this. This is already been drafted,
Yes.
correct?
Yep.
It just needs to be laid.
Has it been laid on the desk or we need to lay it on desks?
It needs to be.
I don't have it in front of me to lay on your desk. Is it ready to be emailed?
I will lay it electronically.
It will be laid electronically on your desks. Okay, which means we can put this on for action at the next meeting, correct? Okay.
We're cooking with gas.
Yeah, we're almost done.
It's only been 18 minutes.
You know, we're doing all right. Okay. Hold your breath.
Oh, committee, the council structures from legislative too.
This one's gonna be 50/50.
Wait, the,
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah,
Waste management.
two big bites here.
Let's do
oh, I thought you were
downtown.
talking about
Do it.
the.
All right.
Downtown waste management, can we do that?
Yeah, let's do that one. Okay.
Commission.
Downtown, I had a meeting this afternoon with Logan's and other business owners about working on what we, I think it was last meeting that we approved the license for Logan's, about working on essentially the screening and fence requirement. I think we kind of came to a meeting of the minds. A number of businesses were interested in sort of helping Logan's on their responsibilities within that license to erect a screening fence. And so the next step is that they're gonna start drawing it, designing it. Then we're gonna meet next week to see how it looks, and eventually they're gonna work on building it. So I don't don't know the numbers, they had one bid that was really high, and they were looking for alternative methods, as long as, as I said in the license that we agreed to last time, that it is essentially compliant with our codes.
So the problem is the cost of the fence.
Because they had a bid that was way higher than anticipated, so that gave them pause, and so we had a meeting again with business owners and with Logan's today. Seemed pretty productive, and we'll do a follow-up meeting next week to look at what they come up with as far as the design. Yep.
So have they signed the contract?
No, not yet, no.
What?
So they're kind of in violation of the July 1st because it was dependent on them signing the contract with their dumpster. So we made Casella take theirs out. So you see the dilemma here? I mean.
In my view,
We didn't make them take it.
Well, we told them they would be in violation.
in my view, they have been working to try to get this going, so.
I understand that, but still, that doesn't, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of gave, the ultimatum was there, they're gonna sign the contract, they have to sign the contract, so the ultimatum's still there. The council did not say, well, you can leave it there until, you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, I just think, you know, my recommendation is that we should continue to proceed with working on this fence. With, my interactions have been positive, they've been productive, we're working on trying to get it done.
I get that, but this has also been years, so I understand where you're coming from, but on the same token, you know, I also think that, you know, we could have made come back with an exception to what we passed, that they signed it, but they have this problem with this, with the fencing costing so much money and we want to work on it, we could have made an exception onto that part of that with the fencing, but they still let it have a contract to have the dumpster there. So I think, you know, I think it kind of undermines the council when we say this is it. And then, oh, you know, we're working, we're this, and we're going out there, we're going out there, we're going out there. So, I mean.
Yeah, it's kind of hard, because it's kind of making me between a rock and a hard place even tighter. Because I've been working with them, and being with Councilmember Carson can't be here for certain reasons. So it's been kind of thrust on my shoulders. So I'm telling you, as I've engaged with them, that I think they've entered into this with a good faith understanding, that there's some challenges that they're trying to overcome. And so if you want to take action, I'm not going to stop you, but it also is going to make my job a lot harder.
Well, I think, why can't we take the action of, we could modify the resolution that we passed that says that within the next couple of months, we'll have a plan in place on fencing and cost and work, and we can continue to work with them on fencing. At least they have the contract signed to have the dumpsters there.
I know you're kind of spitballing now. Can you say one again so I can follow you clearly?
So the resolution that we passed, we can modify that gives them a little more time in the fencing because the price came back so much. That we're going to work with them for the next couple of months with the fencing to get a plan in place, to work with that, at least they have the contract signed so the dumpsters can be there so that we know.
So add language to give them some.
Yes.
Plus it provides a deadline.
Sure.
That shows that we're still working with them
Excuse me, Mayor?
Yeah.
How much are we talking about the difference there that's in question right now? Thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of dollars? What is it?
What do you mean by the difference?
So they expected to pay X, and then now the estimate came in at X plus something. So how much money, what's holding it up? How much?
So, I don't want to speak too far to turn. I think the bid that they received was, I think, $16,000. They had expected it to be significantly less than that. Discussion today was sort of pushed out that they could probably do it for, I don't want to hold in with any particular numbers, but estimates that were discussed that could be done maybe in the $3,000 to $4,000 range.
Okay, so the problem is a couple of $1,000.
Yes, I would like to articulate with a little more detail to that, but essentially,
Right. So, would it be helpful from your point of view if we did what Scott was suggesting? Or would it hurt?
I don't know which way would make it easier or harder. I can report to you my actions since the last meeting when the license was approved, to try to get this to implementation.
How about this?
Recognizing what Councilmember Harrington said as far as concerns about not getting it done, when we had first discussed the license agreement, we had talked about sort of a 3-month window to get this screening built. So what you're saying, you kind of want to get them to commit, right, in a sense?
Yeah, get them to commit.
Yeah.
We can work them with the fencing, we can always modify the resolution. They got a 3-month barrier. If we need to push that out, we can push that out with the screening. The screening shouldn't hold up them signing the contract. I think the contract should be signed, and we can work with them with the screening. And I don't think anybody on this council, speak for anybody, I really think that'd be a hard thing for them to say, well, you gotta have the screening in place. But as long as we're working, we're showing steps, we have that contract signed, so when somebody is taking responsibility for that, getting the garbage out and that stuff.
So essentially, you want to put an addendum to it then, right?
Yeah, if in 3 months that they can't meet that, we'll turn around and we'll work with them on another, push.
Okay,
that
so then,
out.
make sure I understand you. Say the 3 months, they sign, we give them an out if they just can't get it done in 3 months. Is that what you're saying? That was a very quick summarization.
How about this? So work on the addendum and bring it to us at the next council meeting, and we can vote on it if you haven't come to a deal in the next 2 weeks. How about, is that, Scott?
Just to be clear, I'm not trying to make deals here, I'm just trying to facilitate this.
Right,
to
well,
get
but
to
you,
completion.
in the broad.
The deal's there, the deal was, this is what we're doing, and they agreed that this is what they wanted. And if they can't do it or they don't wanna do it, then they gotta get the dumpsters out of there. That's what was put there, everyone.
Yes, and what I'm representing is that their actions and their discussions with me do not suggest that they don't want to do it. The price tag that they got initially was significantly higher than they thought it would be, which gave them pause. Not that they don't want to work with us, work with the business, their customers downtown, but that was maybe a shock to them, and they're trying to figure out another way. The meeting this afternoon was very productive, and I think there's an action plan that will. The business owners that were participating in this were suggesting that they could, one, all work together, not just put it on Logan's shoulders. They all want to work together to make it happen, which means they might share some of the costs. They can figure that out. And then also contract or get people there that would do the work to set up. So they think they can do it pretty quick. So,
Well, I got a question for the lawyer now, too.
all right.
Since we don't have any kind of anything in writing with them having the dumpsters there or whatever, like we did before, is there any, if somebody gets hurt or anything like that, or them being there, is that, like, do we have any issues around that we have to worry about?
Not the city. I mean, in some ways, they have something to worry about. Not us.
So, okay.
We're simply, we have no obligation to let them leave it there. But we're doing that, what we call insufferance, because we're still negotiating with them, and we still want the property owners on Water Street to have a place for their stuff. So we're letting it go while the mayor continues to negotiate and see if they can get it closed up. So we're basically not doing anything now. We have no liability for that.
He used the word negotiate. I wouldn't say I'm negotiating at this point. We're just trying to facilitate and help them get to a completion of the way we want this to look and operate once it's complete. So negotiations more with the business owners right now as far as if they want to contribute, how much, and how they're going to essentially share the costs associated with it. But it's still, like I said, that's what I'm doing. Okay, going back to your addendum.
There's a 3-month do you have that pulled up? Because I can't remember off the top of my head.
We had put in there, I forget the exact dates, but essentially 3 months that they wouldn't pay a lease on it. For 3 months, allowing to address the fencing. So I forget if it was October or November 1st we put on there. It might have been October. That would, they don't owe anything to us until that time, baking in the time for them to fix this. Based on discussions today, once they have a plan that they can go after, they think they can do it very quickly. So this was a step in the right direction today, is what I'm saying. Do you want that addendum, or you want to? My recommendation is not, because they've been communicative with me as well as the customers that they serve downtown, and they've been proactively trying to address this, so they're not necessarily just sitting on it. So in that vein, I want to keep working on it.
I'll give it to the next council meeting,
Okay.
and at that next council meeting, there better be
Something better than what I've got right now.
something better than what you got right now, or?
How about the word progress?
More progress.
It sounds like.
I
it's
think,
something-
I
hear
still
what you're
think,
saying.
I mean, I'm looking at the head bottom and stuff, and I think right now, if you could get the, get them to say, look, you need to sign this, we're willing to work with you with the fencing, and we can amend the resolution, or, as we get closer to the whatever date, and we'll work with you to make sure it goes. But I think at this point, it needs to be, something you just, because I can see what's gonna happen. The next council's gonna be here, and we're still gonna be working on this. And this is something's been worked on long before I got on the council, so.
The other part of
Dave's
this,
laughing, but it's true.
the other part of this,
I'm laughing because I've been sitting in this chair for 35 years, so I know exactly what you're talking about, times 35.
so what we, the other part of this was sort of like part A, part B. Part A is the way I view it, Market Street. Part B is the other waste management that needs to be addressed downtown. Which the conversation today is really deviated that direction as well. So, fire to Sunrise, we just said. So I understand.
I'm gonna trust you, I'll give you to the next council.
Okay. At the next council meeting, you want to
That's
see
the headline.
very clear.
6 words working with the mayor.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. You want to see more?
You asked
Yeah.
for us not to do it, to give you a little bit of time, I'm gonna give you a little bit of time.
Okay. Thank you. Is that okay? I'm sorry, I'm looking this direction a lot.
You're a real guy.
That's all right, I was looking, you have my attention.
What's the question?
Okay. All right. We're gonna move on?
Yes.
Okay, me too. All right. Next one, so we did, so on the, I had in my mind, I kind of put the council committee structure as the last thing, but I wrote down the city housing task force, and then you also put down the environmental board participation.
We can talk about that later.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll put that on the next one, and then the SUNY housing. There was just a note that I made, but we don't have to necessarily talk about it.
I mean, I'm excited. Oh,
Yeah.
are you talking about the presentation?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I did know because that I'm wondering if, I know she brought up some ideas, and it seems to me like one of the easy, lift items that she put up there is to send, that presentation, recommended that the Housing Commission meet with her as well and see if there's any ways that they, would like to, pick up any of that.
Good idea.
I was
Thank you.
gonna say, I think.
Yes, please.
Could I just mention relative to that, Southern Tier 8 is working on a regional workforce housing initiative. So I think she needs to be connected to the Southern Tier 8, which is our Southern Tier East Regional organization. They have resources with the Appalachian Regional Commission funding. They're a pretty strong organization that has been in the region for many, many years. I just attended a workshop that they had at the college very recently on SUNY Oneonta, where they're consultants that they have hired to look into and address the workforce housing issues presented, their work to date, with statistics and information that they're doing. Southern Tier 8's ultimate end product will be, they're trying to develop a funding source to address this in the region, so they need to be at the table. Because they've got the resources that we don't have.
What does that acronym stand for?
As Southern Tier East Regional Development Council, but they call themselves Southern Tier 8 because it's an 8-county region that they work with. So we're at the northernmost part of the Appalachian Regional Regional Commission here in Otsego County, and Southern Tier 8 works in Appalachia on poverty issues, and workforce housing in this region is one of their highest priorities that they're working on right now. And workforce housing, so people understand, is not affordable housing. There's two different things. Workforce housing is permanent housing. Sometimes affordable housing is when you reach a certain income level and you're over those requirements, you have to find other housing. This is true housing, permanent housing for workforce, which is not necessarily tied to income limits, it's tied to work.
Thank you. Okay, we're ready to move to what I thought was the last item. The council committees. Okay, so, all right, you've got your sheets, the new plan starting August 1st on new committees. And so, I know I explained part of it in the email I sent you when I sent you these attachments, is that hearing the feedback, there's sort of two areas. Hearing feedback from what you've given me at council meetings, individually and also together during a roundtable or maybe some agenda items. Second, what I've learned from the job as far as interacting with the city staff as well as with the council, and learning how to sort of manage my role in this process. And looking at directly some of the feedback given starting in June as far as how the communities were going so far in this year. Taking that into account, there were some clear signals that I got from that. The committee structure with 3 committee members seemed like we should move it to 4. Would make each council committee meeting a little bit more productive. So that was one. Second was with 6 committees, that might have been too diffused as far as working through some of the issues, which meant that some agendas were longer than others, which is, to my view, not necessarily a good time management process. So if we're moving from 3 to 4, which I think is a good idea, and we're to keep 6 committees, that would be an insane number of meetings for all of you. And so it seemed appropriate then that looking at a 4-member versus 3, that we're to reduce the committee number and consolidate it, that'd be better for your time management. And looking at the agendas, just sort of generally, which it's not necessarily every month or every meeting. I would say the Finance and HR Committee meeting was probably more robust, followed by Quality Life and Infrastructure. Those 2. So I looked at those 2 as sort of like the starting point, sort of the core, if you will, and then took the other committee meetings and put them attached to those. Know that those ones were a little bit less. And then backed this up by, Greg was very nice and looked at the sort of the times that committees might have been postponed or canceled due to maybe lack of agenda items or because of certain members not able to be there for any number of reasons. And those 2 were the ones that were, we'll say, least impacted by those things. So it seemed like a good idea to work on those 2 and then build around those 2. So that's one area. Second issue is on working through the number of issues that we're working on, some of which we talked about tonight. And if it's across 6 committees, it's hard for any member of the council to see it and then also to participate in it. And so my goal when I came in here is still the same, still unchanged from what I've learned in the 6 months, that if I give council members more opportunity to participate in some of the development things before the actual full council votes on it, then you're gonna have much more productive conversations and have overall better productivity. So I thought, well, maybe if we're gonna reduce it, will be the number that we should reduce to. And that's what came on the 2 committees. So that's how this simplifies the agenda creation. So that way it's on one agenda, if it's not on yours, it's on the other one. so that whatever committee you're on, if you're working through an issue, if it's not on your agenda, it'll be on the other one, so you can clearly see what another committee is doing, and they can also clearly see what you're doing. And then when it comes to the full council, once it's ready, then one, you already have 4 people that have looked at it, and also the others that were not on that committee can also see how that got there. I think that might simplify some of it, therefore make the communication better on some of the issues. Taking some of the feedback, specifically what Councilmember Harrington said to me last time, as far as the negotiations committee and how that works incorporated with the finance committee. That one, and we might disagree on some things, that we're generally in agreement that the negotiations committee should stand on its own, but it's really not a committee that has to meet all the time. It's more of an advisory committee when it's needed, when the time arises. So still want to make sure that that is clearly articulated and it has its place, but these other 2 committees are the ones going to do the routine work. So my proposition going forward, starting in August, is to consolidate to these 2 committees: the Community Legislation, Infrastructure, and Public Safety Committee, and then the Finance, Administration, and Strategic Operations Committees. Those would then meet on the 2nd and 4th week of the month. Our meetings as a full council will still continue to meet on the 1st and the 3rd one. That way, each of you would then still have the same number of meetings on either Thursday or Tuesday. So that is the fast version of this. Since starting August 1st, this is what I've come up with as far as trying to describe the work of each committee. This is sort of open for suggestions. Just because I've read it now and given it to you. I give it to you mostly so you can start writing on it, make some suggestions, some feedback on it. We can certainly make some modifications. My goal is that if we implement this, we'll stick with it, see how it goes, and then in January, we'll do another check-in on this, which maybe means we revise a little bit. Maybe you think 2 is too few, and maybe we should add one and carve out some of the issues so they have their own attention in a separate committee. All those things can be discussed, but what are your thoughts, reactions? I didn't mind. That was quick.
Just a quick question.
Yes, please.
It says it meets the 2nd and 4th.
If I did not write that way.
Both or one?
Both of them meet on the 2nd and both of them meet on the 4th, or is it one?
Yeah,
on the 2nd,
you know.
one on the 4th?
No, they'll each be twice a month.
Twice.
Yeah, during the second, so say finance, which is sort of like HR, which is on Thursdays, they'll continue to meet on Thursdays, twice a month. During the second week.
Thursdays.
Sorry,
And the
I think
other one
I-
would be the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of the month.
So we're, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you could propose another date, kind of just,
Wait, what are the days and times?
well, I didn't put that on here, so you can,
Right, that's
just, you
what
can
I'm.
decide that.
Okay.
Yeah. My suggestion is to do it in the weeks, because then you'll do work on items, they'll go to full council the following week. So that back and forth between the committee and the full council will still be intact. But you can pick the date and time of the week. My recommendation, which is not my committee, is to do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 o'clock. I think the committees generally meet at 5 o'clock. To do it at 5 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays on the 2nd and 4th week of the month.
As mayor, do you have the authority to create these, or is this the council's job?
No, this is, as I understand it, as I read it, this is completely within my authority and as the charter assigns to me. But I do very much appreciate your feedback, and so far I think there's been a high degree of candor in the first 6 months, and I very much appreciate that. So I bring it to you, so there's some time for you to make some suggestions, but there is no motion that follows this discussion. Yes.
So how will we know, or what will be on the next Tuesday agenda? Will it come from both of these committees?
You said, with this meeting, or for
Yes,
this
for
meeting?
the following council.
Council meeting. We'll still have, I will still make that agenda and provide it to you in the same fashion that it has been provided. So like, say if we do indeed keep the finance committee on Thursdays, generally how it's been working is that Councilmember Walsh Rousseau will meet with Greg Mattice, I think on Wednesdays, go over the Thursday agenda. They'll, like a lot of things that we worked on today, then we'll add that to the council committee agenda, that typically goes, as you've seen, goes out on Fridays. So that process will still stay intact.
So that is part of the finance administration, the FASO committee? That will
Yes.
still be?
Yeah, I don't know if you're naming it. Yeah. Yeah, so that function will still be there, like that's still kind of, it might be kind of a core function. And so they'll, when they meet, then they'll then inform the councilman for the next Tuesday, as well as the other committee as well. Yeah, keep looking this direction. I know you-
We don't have much over here, I guess,
Well,
so.
I just, the time thing is problematic, like, we're gonna have to talk about it. Cause my schedule books out really far in advance, so, and I've already had to move times and people for other committees and stuff, so we'll just have to talk about
You see, we have you, me, or you and.
We.
Just wanna make sure that.
it. Yeah, cause this is
Time
like,
that
this
is
isn't like you gave us a month, this is like, you know, August is in a week and a half. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's not that easy for me to do.
Well, I didn't put any times in
Well,
there, so we could-
right.
you can.
And if we're gonna pick a time, I'm sorry, guys, but like for me, Tuesdays would be better than the Thursday. That's less people I have to shift around.
I was sort of thinking, if you're on that committee, that would be the Tuesday committee. The way I was thinking it, but that might help.
Tuesday at what time?
What time would you like?
1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Got, what time would you like? The first one would be the chair, so Councilmember Harrington and Councilmember Cecilia Walter-Sill would be the chairs of these committees. So,
What works for the committee. I'm not gonna be setting a time. I think I'm gonna work with the clerk's office.
Yes, it's a little.
Yeah.
Schedule that's there and the people on the committee to see what works for them.
Right, and I also want to remind us that we often use extra Tuesdays for budget, and
Yeah.
Right.
I know that, we got budget presentation starting here.
we're
so
almost there,
that-
yeah.
That we might want to just keep
Oh
in
my
mind
gosh.
going forward.
And that's what I'm saying, Shannon,
Yeah.
like, we can work,
I'll talk to you.
yeah.
It's just not convenient to move, to have it this year.
It might be-
Because I don't
It's
know
alright.
how early we should start, because I mean, combined, sometimes it's an hour and a half, I click and roll,
Mhm.
but I don't know.
I mean, legislative sometimes meets twice a month, like, it's pretty,
This is going to be twice a month, so.
So it might actually shorten maybe a little
Yeah,
bit.
maybe it'll even out. We'll see, I think we'll have to see, right?
This-
Right. So can the first one, Shannon, do you want the first one to be Tuesday at, it's 5 for you, and then we can go from there and we can discuss it?
On the second and fourth Tuesday.
Which would be,
the 11th and the 25th.
August 11th would be the first one. How's that?
Twice a month. Right. So finance was always Thursday, so
Right.
Thursday, the other one.
Are you against doing 5:30?
I would also
5:30.
prefer 5:30.
Yeah, because then I can get,
For the other
Whatever
ones.
it is.
I think it makes
Then I
sense to
get
keep them the
myself
same.
here.
I don't care, 5:30?
5:30?
Is that
I mean,
okay?
we gotta start somewhere, so.
Yeah, I wanna, I know I can be a jerk, but I like to try to work with people, so.
I have not.
We all know you're not always a jerk.
No.
Somebody might
Start.
disagree with me. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see facial expressions.
I can tell. Okay, so I hope you take time to read it, make any suggestions. The goal here is to improve communication, improve productivity, with a mind on time management, knowing that we all have limited time to try to make the most of it, and make it easier for us to see what we're working on throughout the month. And I'm hoping that also a benefit of this is that with, again, the two committees, the public will also see very clearly what the council is working on throughout the month. These will be essentially two spots to look at. I'm hoping, we'll see how it goes. I don't have any certainty attached to this, but trying to find ways to make us all a little bit better at what we're trying to do.
And this is gonna stay in effect until December, the end of December?
Yeah, then in January, we'll check again, and if you say, I really want 10 committees, I'll say, Councilmember Harrington really wants 10 committees. Yeah, we'll check in on January and see how things are going.
You're gonna get me, like, having to sleep on the couch, you say, want 10 committees.
Those are your words, not mine. You heard him say that. Okay.
Mayor, I'm just looking at the purpose of,
Excuse me,
bless you, of both these committees and the amount of information or purpose for each of these. Will the agendas, I'm just trying to look at how the agendas would look like.
For each one?
Yeah, are we going to cover every topic?
Oh, no, I was just trying to be exhaustive.
You're just trying
Yeah,
to
yeah,
put,
yeah.
combine, okay.
Just trying to give you some, try to be exhaustive in the description so that you can see clearly the kinds of topics that you will be covering. You're not necessarily at the like line item at every time with each of these topics, but you're trying to give a picture of what kind of work will be done in that committee.
So how we're combining our 6 into 2?
Yeah,
Okay.
with the negotiation as a side.
Yes.
So that one's essentially the same as it was written before, again, on an as-needed basis. The other two would have say the routine meetings. Yes.
For the advising committee, negotiation advising committee, there's only 3 members. Why is that not 4?
Because I didn't change it, because it's an ad hoc advising committee. Since that didn't have the same sort of purpose, I thought I'd keep it as 3 as the same committee members as it is right now, since they're not going to meet very often.
Okay.
If you'd like to suggest adding a 4th, we could sort of discuss it. I'm not trying to work with concrete now, so, if you have some suggestions, go for it.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right, I'm hoping, maybe you'll call me, tomorrow and be like, hey, I thought about it. And these are my thoughts. And we'll see how it goes. All right, well, thank you for, again, sort of the recap, 6 months. Like I said, I think we've had very candid conversations. We've passed through a number of good things, and I really appreciate your openness and willingness to work with me on a number of things. I'm hoping that maybe as we get into the next, maybe the challenging part of the budget going into 2027, that we'll continue that way of doing things, and they will continue to be open and flexible, and give me your feedback when you feel that is required. Do we want, all right, we have, yes.
Spoke to Chris earlier. This is, he had mentioned on and off for the last couple of years, doing a tour of the water treatment plant. So if anybody is interested, could you send me an email and we'll try and organize that?
Water treatment plant? Wastewater treatment.
Wastewater. Yeah, the wastewater treatment plant, I'm sorry, wastewater. We've already done the water treatment plant.
All right, thank you. So email Councilman Matheson if you want to go look at the wastewater treatment plant.
Wastewater treatment plant.
That's right, can't miss this one.
It's fun.
It's fun.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The catacombs alone now.
Yeah, no.
It's not right for a movie at all, is it?
I want to do, I think it'd be great.
It's a whole other thing
Yeah,
there.
it's pretty cool, yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else want to do a roundtable? Yes,
I
please.
just have something real quick, because, and I know we're switching up, but I think that legislative committee discussed the good cause eviction legislation.
Somewhat, a little bit.
Somewhat, and just in more generally, I have been putting together some information for council, because everybody wanted some information. And I know in talking to some folks about this, they were curious what kind of information council wants about good cause eviction. So if there's any suggestions that would help me understand, like, what kind of information you want, so I make sure that I can get you some relevant information, that would be helpful. Okay. And if there's any suggestions, any ideas now of what council's looking for, or you can email me too.
I just have one question. Is there any communities about our size that have already implemented this?
There are, and I'd have to look
What's-
at the list, but I can
what's
get
the
you the
outcomes?
list. Outcomes, that's a very good question, but I think that's something that we can find out more about, okay? But that's good to know.
That's kind of what because I don't want to,
Yeah,
I want to make sure.
there definitely were, and I don't want to, speak off the top of my head because I don't remember which ones there were, but there were, and they were of variable sizes, some that were comparable to Oneonta as well, so I'll make sure to include that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
I think the
I think
smallest
we're ready
city
to
that
move.
I know of that has it is Kingston.
Yeah, that's one I remember being on the list. There's quite a few.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not sure how big Kingston is, but it's maybe 3 times the size of Oneonta, something like that.
Okay, thanks. And if anybody thinks of anything later, you can email me too, and I'll get that out to everybody soon. I even got some feedback from the Housing Commission, because I know they are also looking at it, and they've gotten some resources. So I said, send me along what's helpful, so I'll include that as well.
Thank you. Okay, I think we're ready for the budget presentation kickoff discussion.
There's a prison.
Oh, it's not a presentation.
I'm sorry, no, sorry,
We're
sorry,
scheduling meetings, right?
sorry.
It's gonna be very, very.
Kickoff discussion,
Okay,
budget
because
preparation.
Sal's closes at then. And I'm eating dinner,
Sounds
so we gotta
good.
go.
Oh, my gosh.
I know.
Don't worry about 9 o'clock. So we don't have anything to present tonight. Normally, we kick off the budget discussion the second meeting in July. That's what the charter says, and that's typically what we do. Obviously, with Tyler Technology implementation happening now, we don't have anything to present tonight. So likely at the August 4th meeting, after discussing with the mayor as to what's on the agenda, Ginny will present, as she did last year, similarly, a 2025 recap and a 2026 year-to-date recap. We'll talk about some proposed budget meetings, whether that's going to be at a regular meeting or special meetings. We'll propose a timeline at the next meeting. So I wanted to get just some feedback from council, a few questions for you. Number one, do you prefer special council budget meetings separate from the regular meeting, which I think we focused on last year, as opposed to adding on to our regular meetings?
I do
That was a
not.
nod, or that, no, you're not nodding.
Oh, I prefer to be separate than the regular
Okay.
council meeting because we go too long.
Okay, so separate meeting.
I
One
do
nod
not
for separate.
prefer them to be separate, because I would
Oh,
rather
yeah,
strap
very
in and just do it all in one day.
Yeah, me
I am feeling the same
Yeah.
way.
Also, our regular meetings have been a lot shorter.
They have, it's been a lot more easily
I mean, I don't mean like in a day, like we could do it the same day, like if you start at 4 or
Oh,
whatever.
just take a break.
well, I'm just like,
For pizza?
I just think that when you get in, just like today's, I mean, you look at today's, and what we did, and you're already at 8, and we started at 5:30. And when you throw the budget in there, you're gonna be probably pushing 9.
I would,
This is our.
not the, setting a standard. This is probably one of our longer meetings. that we've
It
had.
has been.
We've had a pretty thick agenda.
If you can keep like your presentations now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this was, I think 3 presentations is the most we've had at one meeting.
Right.
Excuse me, one or.
I try to get past the past, but man, sometimes the past is just the past.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
drama, sorry.
Well,
Everyone has trauma.
okay, I have it for bundling, unbundling.
Yeah, I can go either way, really.
Okay.
Unbundling.
Which word?
Unbundling.
Unbundling?
Separate meetings. for the
Understood.
budget.
Bundling.
Oh, my goodness.
So can I make a suggestion?
Real
Oh,
quick,
well, I
I-
think the
yeah,
bundles
yeah,
have
yeah.
it, but.
Yes, please.
You may want to, just want to throw a suggestion out there, you may want to consider a combination. So depending on what the topic is, it may
Right, fair.
need a separate meeting, depending, or it could just be an extension of a council meeting.
I'm good with that.
I
Yeah,
was gonna kind of say that.
that's reasonable.
See, that was Scott's idea anyways.
So this will be part of the schedule proposition at the next meeting?
Yeah.
We'll do a bundled, unbundled approach based on topic. That sound good?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. You're gonna get to tell.
I just think broadly, like, getting here
Right.
is the hard part. Sitting here and learning for however many hours is not the hard part. Well, as long as there's like a break, I can handle it.
That's a good point. If we're gonna have a longer meeting, if we can have a scheduled break,
Yeah.
that helps, so we know that we can run out and grab food or
Yeah.
just catch a walk or something,
I'd like to see, but
sitting for
do
3.5
you want
hours.
us to do a break and then like we did the pizza workshop
Yeah.
in March? Do you
Yeah.
wanna, like, we could bring food in and, like you say,
Or just like, if we go from, 5 to 7, and then we take a 30-minute break,
Yeah.
and then we do budget from 7:30 to.
I would agree. If we're gonna go more than 2 hours, like this is probably a good max for, a meeting. But I think if we're gonna meet for 2 hours and then we still have a lot more to do, I agree. I think taking a good solid, break is helpful for all of us.
Touch grass.
I think we do better work.
Okay, next question.
Question 203, do you want budget info binders as Jenny prepared this? It's a lot of work to put it together, but if
No.
it's helpful, we will continue to do that.
I like
We
information.
provide it all electronically.
I was gonna say, the part that I thought was the most helpful was those budget transfer forms. I don't need them all printed, although the binder is like a beautiful thing. But with the amount of, time and investment, I
don't
can
mind
handle
doing
it in other
binders.
ways.
I don't mind doing the binders, but I just want to make sure you want them.
Yeah, okay, so we have no binder?
Well, because I have 7 of them, and I keep needing to like bring it back and use it, and this may force me to actually do that, so I don't need to. I think when there are like charts and graphs, having
Yeah.
those things in printed format is really helpful.
Yeah.
But like memos and stuff, I absolutely do not need, and I often, unless there's something that I've like highlighted, will just like chuck them at the end of the season. So I think, for me, I would prefer things digitally unless it's like a graph, because I have a binder collection, and I can use one of my binders, repurpose
You gonna use it?
Yeah, which I've really been meaning to do, so I think that would be good, for me personally.
Like a binder?
No, no binder.
No binder.
I have no binder.
Oh, this is-
I'm gonna repurpose a binder that I have already.
No, but you want binders. You want printed.
Only graphs and charts,
Not the memos.
not memos. I do
Graphs
want
and
memos.
charts.
I'll read memos. I'm just throwing out options, obviously, I'm one person.
There's not-
Love to say. Right.
Because I always refer to it, 'cause I like the tabs and the graphs.
Right.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put binders together, and for those people that want them, you can take them, and for those that don't want them, you don't need to take them. Okay?
I just don't want you to have to do the work.
It sounds like there's enough
It's a
interest.
paper collection club.
And
We
Kate,
have
if you
city
want to
days.
return your binders that you no longer want.
Well, so that's my intention every year. Yeah, I would love to do that. I just have to remember to do that, empty them out, file the papers.
All right, so we're binders number 2, number 3.
Number 3, I think Elaine mentioned this, but do you want to see budget request forms again? For certain items that are large items, one-time items,
Yes.
significant changes, we had that last year, and that really narrowed down, I think, where you need to look as far as we're talking about inclusions or costs or increase or decrease. Was that helpful? Do you want those again? It is significant amount of work, and hard to really
I thought that was
express.
great.
See,
That's helpful.
Nod.
Sorry.
You weren't
I
there
thought
last
it was
year,
great.
but nod.
No. It was helpful. I thought that was good, yes.
I think that's
Sorry.
Sorry, Chris. We thank you.
Sorry, Chris.
Good to see you.
You're
Elaine.
like
Come
more
on out.
likely to get your stuff, so that's good.
All right, good. Any more questions on that? Okay, so August 4th meeting will be scheduled.
Want to add?
And
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I appreciate everybody's patience with the Tyler conversion. We're going to be using a new budget version this year, so we're all going to be learning together to see how everything comes together. And then also, I just wanted to inform the council that the audit field work has been completed. We still have to, I still have to prepare the audited financial statements with all the supporting schedules and give those to the auditors for them to review. But I'm very pleased to let you know that every test that they did, we passed, there was no findings, there was no corrections, there was no adjustments. So I'm very pleased to let you know that. Now, that does not mean that something may not come up before the partner signs off on something. But as of right now, I've been informed that there are no concerns and that every test passed.
Thank you.
thank you.
Initial budget parameters from council, you guys interested? I'm sorry. And initial budget parameters from council, you guys interested, or next time?
I think next time.
Okay.
We'll put that on, some more time on that.
I just had a general question, because didn't the comptroller's office or whatever said they set the tax cap at 2%?
They did.
Mm-hmm.
I just got an email last week that the tax cap is 2%. I have not looked at the full formula because there's also a growth part to it. So, but I will be presenting that to you on August 4th, so you'll know
Okay.
what the formula comes out to be.
That would be good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
I was just going to mention, if you have 7 binders, we could just each take one of those binders.
No, it's the information that is,
Well,
the
but-
binder is not the issue, it's how what's in.
Well, I
Oh, the
know
physical
that, but
binders. She's
still-
Yeah, she's just saying like, I
Review
have like
those
7.
binders.
Yeah, and
I
then
have
I've been meaning to
25
look at that every
binders.
year.
Well, all right, bring it in.
Dawn is dying.
All right, so we're moving on from that now. So we're set for August 4th meeting. Yes, that's good.
I'm excited.
I don't expect it, but it's still on the agenda. Is there anyone who would like to take this opportunity to address the council? Okay. Second opportunity has passed. There is no need for executive session, correct?
I want to go to this session.
Okay, you can go do executive
You gotta-
session.
you gotta move.
We are adjourned
Go with me.
at 8:04.